What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Project Manga podcast, where we cover One Piece, My Hero, Black Clover, The Promised Neverland, Chainsaw Man, and Jujutsu Kaisen week to week. Back this week, covering Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 26. I'm your host, Eagle.
What up? I'm Kiko.
Noxie.
And Nickums.
And as always, before we get started, we'd just like to say, go ahead and slap a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It would support us greatly. Also, links in the description. Go ahead and check that link tree. You can find links to any and all of our social media platforms. Also, before we get started, we would also just like to say rest in peace to George Floyd. And us being from Minnesota and around the Minneapolis area, where we've obviously been very close to this. And now it's starting to spread all around the world. And people are having a chance to be part of something that is a global movement that could potentially better people's lives on a worldwide scale. So
yeah, dude,
be open, be understanding, don't jump to conclusions before you know what the hell you're talking about. And again, rest in peace to George Floyd.
Yeah.
And without further ado, let's just jump right into this.
Yeah, dude.
So let's start with chapter 108 of Jujutsu Kaisen.
Let's go.
The Shibuya Incident, part 26.
Let me go ahead and take the reins on this
Go
one.
ahead,
You feel
man.
me? Because this chapter,
Crazy.
this chapter was so cool for a lot of reasons, but it was also like really epic because, well, I'm gonna be jumping around like left and right. I feel like on this one, but the first thing that I want to talk about is that it's super cool how every clan has some kind of way to deal with domains, right? So you have like the simple domain inside of like the Shin-Kage style, right? Is what it's called. And then now we're finding out that the Zenin clan, or at least now Vito, I don't know if other members of the clan, have like a different, iteration of this technique or whatever, but the what did they call it? Falling lotus petal or something like that.
Blossom emotion.
Falling
blossom.
That's right.
Falling blossom emotion.
Super fucking sick. And one thing that I feel like a lot of us might have noticed when going through this is that this technique, this short hit technique from Dagon, is a pretty clear shout out to Yoshihiro Togashi inside of the Chimera and Saga with the fucking Ortho siblings. So that's one thing that I don't think we've seen yet. A direct, like, homage like that close before in this series,
right?
You know what I mean? And I could go through, the series again and really like try to like take notes on it or whatever. But I mean, like this one is very obvious. It's very apparent.
There's been similar ones, but this is like almost the exact same ability.
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of the fish manifesting out of nothing after the attack has already hit you or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not it's not darts, or whatever it was, but that was so crazy to see. And fucking Nanami, bro. Yeah. And
how?
I know it looked like he like exploded. Yeah, it looked like he like fucking exploded.
Now's the time.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what we want to talk about, sure. I mean, I personally think.
Well,
I don't think he explodes. It looks like he's just getting overwhelmed with them and getting engulfed, not actually being.
It looks like blood is like squirting out in all directions.
His entire upper body is chopped down, and his legs are giving out.
Bit here and there. Yeah, I mean, he's taking damage. I'm not going to say he's not taking damage, but
and I mean, as long as we're on this topic, what's up with Naobito?
Yeah, dude.
Because Buddy got eviscerated.
He got his shit. He got collapsed on too.
I would be jumping to the end of the chapter.
We shouldn't just assume that they're out of there, But
yeah,
no, they're definitely not.
No.
But again,
they wouldn't. Yeah,
they wouldn't along the lines of this being a Hunter-esque series, man.
I could tell you. I mean, I'd have to jump kind of to the end to tell you what I think about this whole thing. Like, I think it's kind of like a overarching thing with the whole chapter on what I think is going to happen and how this will play out. I just think that Dagon said that he's putting 70-30, 70 on Nobito and 30 on Nanami, which is 0 for Maki, and he's fighting her now hand to hand, basically, fair fight. And
Maki's such a gangster, bro.
She is. It's
well, he was at the end. He was about to sick the death swarm on her because she was like, "All right, I'm gonna give you the same fate they got,"
Yeah,
he did say something like that. Yeah.
But he was just like, I'm going to devote 70% of these swarm to Nobito, 30% of it to Nanami, and none of the monsters are going to attack Maki.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks to me that Dagon is assuming at least one of them, if not both of them, Nanami and Nobito, are dead or incapacitated by this ability to say, you're going to meet the same fate as your grandpa or whatever,
right?
Or as the old guys or whatever he says. But I mean, I think they are subdued. I do not think they are incapacitated, or maybe that's not the right knocked out. I don't think either of them are out of the fight. I think, well, to give the whole thing, I have to talk about Megumi, which is clearly the big hit here at the end of the
cliffhanger ending.
Yeah. So what I think is going to happen is that, first of all, you cannot out-domain a domain from a stronger entity. I mean, Jujutsu sorcerer, I'd say, whatever. Yeah. I mean, this
curse.
Is a supreme grade curse or whatever.
Well, and his domain is still developing. Megumi's too.
Is still developing, yeah.
Even if he was stronger,
Yeah, because it seemed like a partial domain.
He's got a half-baked domain.
Origin of Obedience arc, right? It was like a half, whatever.
But I'm pretty sure that
not fully cultivated.
In that arc, wasn't there something in the title that let us know that it wasn't complete? I can't remember exactly what it looked like. But I think it said it said some word for unfinished, and then Chimera Shadow Garden. This was just Chimera Shadow Garden. So it definitely could be complete at this point.
Sure. And I wasn't really, going to speculate on that or not. I don't think that even if it's complete, I don't think he can, do what Gojo did to Jogo and just override his shit, cancel him out, because you got to be the stronger being to do that, right? Like your domain has to be stronger. You got to be the stronger Jujutsu sorcerer or whatever to do that.
Yeah.
As far as I understand.
But that's good. But that's good that it's not like my domain completely cancels yours out because I'm stronger kind of situation. It's cool to see. I want to see how people utilize their domain inside of another person's domain. Yeah. And it's like a domain versus a domain clash, and it goes back to that strategy.
Just a strength clash.
Yeah, because if it's just like a Bankai, I go Bankai first, you go Bankai second, and then my Bankai is stronger than yours, so I win the fight, then that's gonna kind of take away what we've come to understand about the series, so far. I feel like this energy system doesn't allow that kind of exchange. You know what I mean? It all comes down to strategy, and all comes down to tactics. Sure, you can overwhelm your opponent with a Gojo versus Jogo kind of situation, but I feel like that's such a that it's Gojo. You know what I'm saying? It's But another thing that's crazy is that I feel like besides Gojo, Megumi is the only non-curse domain that we've seen, right? Yeah.
I mean, we've seen simple domains, but
we've seen simple domains.
I think so,
but Megumi is the only sorcerer that we've seen that's not a curse, that's not Gojo, that has an actual domain, which is really cool, because I don't want the series to turn into everybody has a domain, even though if more and more people started coming out with domains throughout the series, I'm sure it wouldn't turn into a Kamehameha wave clash or a Bankai clash kind of situation. Just like I said, I don't think that the energy system allows for the fights to turn into that. But I definitely think that it would be way cooler if very little people had domains just in general throughout the series. So
that could be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think that.
Now
just
Beto has a domain. I would think.
I mean,
I'd like to.
Does he? Why didn't he use it? You know, like.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, shit.
If he had a domain,
quick,
but if he had a domain, I feel like, well, I mean, you also have to take into consideration like channeling time. You know, like maybe.
But why
like
wouldn't he just pop it right when they land in the domain? Then,
yeah, because he was standing there for a second,
right.
he was standing there for a second, like I'm on a shore. He had time to like
Instead
look around.
Could have just been like.
That's a very calm domain. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe he doesn't have it.
I don't know. As much as I would like to see Megumi, flex here, with the tone that Maki set, like, did she at the beginning of this fight? I can't exactly remember. I think I do remember though her asking like permission to go in.
No, she was saying we could have killed this dude. She was saying I could have killed this dude if I would have not waited to ask for permission to attack him or something.
When he was a little,
right? Exactly.
When yeah.
Oh,
so,
when he was little.
Chibi.
Yeah,
Chibi
so,
Cthulhu. Yeah.
Which is crazy that I mean, like, I guess it makes sense when you feel relatively confident about the situation before you understand like how big the threat level is. Then it makes sense for you to like still adhere to like rules of your clan or rules of your dojo or whatever. But like obviously like the script can flip at any fucking moment in this series, you know what I mean? And as soon as the threat level goes from like we're all jumping this motherfucker and there's nothing you can do to like domain expansion, now we're in like a very dire situation for you to like think back on hindsight like that, like I should have just killed this thing instead of trying to ask permission from this drunk old man. It's like I would have just did it anyway. Fuck it, know. But obviously, she's got aspirations to one day take over, the clan in a legitimate way. So it makes sense that she would want to still adhere to those rules. But hindsight's a motherfucker. But yeah.
But yeah, so I believe that it will be at least a 2v1 for some portion of the time. But I feel like Megumi is. Whatever class, caster of some kind, where obviously
I'd like to see Maki
tank.
take the forefront here.
Yeah, Maki's definitely the tank. Well, Megumi's going to be a caster type, whatever, some kind of support type. That's what I think. I think he's going to be able to. So, the domain thing. So we've seen now 3 people use simple domain, which was Miwa, Kokichi, and Wee. Yep. And now we're seeing that all 3 big clans can do this falling blossom emotion technique.
To some degree. I mean, every clan has their way to deal with domains that isn't a domain. Yeah.
Is that what it said? It felt like it said that the big 3 clans all use this technique.
No, it says
it did say that this is something shared between the 3 big families.
No,
an
anti-domain technique passed down in the big 3 Jujutsu families. Oh, okay, so yeah, that could either mean that they all have something like this, or they all have their own iteration of the
own variation.
That does.
I'd like to.
That has the same effect. Yeah.
Like maybe this one is like it juts out like it looks, but maybe another family has one that's kind of like a whipping thing or like
shit like that.
I don't know.
Yeah. I would love to see that.
I just want to see Maki, obviously tank, but like Megumi use his Shadow Chimera Garden to maybe envelope her in shadow power, maybe protecting her some kind of way, or amplifying her fighting some kind of way, just some kind of support for Maki to go all out. Obviously now she has Playful Cloud, which was previously translated as Roaming Cloud.
Roaming Cloud,
yeah.
I complained about that too, but I guess it's been Playful Cloud as long as official translations have been here. It's not a situation
I went back and looked at Viz, and Viz has it as fucking Roaming Cloud back in chapter 50 or whatever. So I don't know, whatever. I mean,
Roaming Cloud's way better name. We can all agree on that.
Yeah,
I feel like
I like it too. Yeah, I like it too.
Dude. Well,
that's fine. Yeah, that's all good. But I just think
I'm a Viz apologist. I think Playful Cloud sounds tight.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah,
it doesn't roam. It plays with your fucking jaw when I smack you with this motherfucker.
Well, dude, like remember the last time she used it in the fucking Goodwill event against Hanami? She cracked him in the fucking like face with it, and he went flying through the.
And Toto used it too.
So you're saying it makes motherfuckers roam?
Yeah. Yeah, because after she cracks Hanami with it or whatever, it's in the water. Like she drops it in the water, and he uses Boogie Woogie to like switch Yuji with playful cloud, and then he uses it and cracks Hanami too. Like that was really cool to see back then. That, you know, I mean, it would make sense for somebody like Toto to also use a curse tool if it came up, but like, I back to really what I'm talking about here, trying to get to is that when they 2v1 them, that they're going to break this, and even though he already says like he's going to use his ability on Maki, I feel like maybe if he uses 65, you know, 25, you know, he can use 10% on Maki and still keep them restrained, and maybe that's what we'll see. But the 2v1 and whatever amplification I'm hoping Megumi gives to Maki will force him to use more of that ability, which is going to weaken, you know, the hold on the other two, which Nanami, I'm not really factoring him in, but I just think it would be really great to see Naobito come out and save his two grandchildren at the last second, you know, like a big fucking, you know, clash towards the end, and he just, you know, does his thing. But
because we've been talking shit on this man's name for forever, and you know, and obviously, you know, they have a reason to not fuck with him that we don't know. All we do is just see him standing sinisterly in the background and knowing that Maki don't fuck with him, so we just assume he's a piece of shit. But I mean, like, if he comes through in the clutch at the end of the fight like that, that would be huge.
Well, yeah, and if you think about the shit that Toji was always talking about the Zenin clan and how they only care about whatever power, this passing on and cultivating the best, you know, successors and all that kind of shit. Naobito doesn't seem like he perpetuates that. Like he's just like, I do me, and the clan can do what they want. So maybe there will be, you know, some kind of amends made of some kind, you know, just them, the bond close. That's what I was getting to, is that I just want Megumi, Maki, and Naobito's bond to all, you know, maybe get a little closer. Obviously you can't erase, you know, and Maki has a big, very strong drive to, you know, she's been shit on the whole time, just like Toji was, and she's even worse than Toji in the fact that she still has cursed energy. It's just so small that she can't use it, you know, so you can sense her. She can't use the stealth abilities that Toji was using.
Right, and she doesn't have the heightened senses.
Different, bro. Like,
she doesn't have the heightened senses.
She may, because it's a heavenly restriction, right? Like that's what, it's a heavenly restriction that both Maki and Toji have, that they don't get the cursed energy and they can't use a Jutsu Shiki, but their physical abilities are heightened, which I don't know if that just, you know, like a
but I don't think it's to the degree,
or a Wolverine thing.
It could be that, like, but let's see, like, I don't think it's to the degree that like Toji has it, because I think I remember dialogue in the Hidden Inventory, like Premature Death, like arc, that they were talking about how, because he has absolutely zero curse energy of any kind, that like those senses, I mean, like maybe no, maybe Maki has like heightened, you know, like physical, you know,
maybe she has to develop them, you know, maybe that's Toji's development of that too.
But I mean, like, if you still have some curse energy, I'm trying to think of how I'm trying to like word this here. So like the fact that he has none, he definitely has to bring all of his senses to, you know, superhuman levels in order to make up for not having any at all. Like Maki could have increased physical stats naturally just because she doesn't have a Jutsu Shiki and she has a really low, you know, Juryoku reserve. But like, can she smell curses? Can she hear curses? Can she, you know what I'm saying? Like
that was always tough with Toji, because he can't, and Maki wears glasses to see curses.
Right.
So like, you know, it was always weird that, I mean, Toji, it just, all of his other senses were so good that he didn't actually need to see the curse. He knew what they were and what they were doing in front of him with hearing and, you know,
and smell and shit.
I guess maybe feel of the air, whatever. You know, like, I'm not. I don't know, but I don't know. I just really hope that they bridge a little bit of that gap, because Naobito seems cool, man. I like the guy, man.
It could always be like other officials in the Zenin clan that like are the most problematic ones. You know what I mean? Like Naobito takes all the responsibility because he's the clan head. You know what I mean? And he obviously could embody a lot of the problematic, like you know, aspects of the clan too. But like maybe it's other, you know, members that are like a lot worse than him. He's got to make diplomatic choices that all elders are voting on or whatever, you know, some shit like that, you know. That makes sense to me. Dude. Fuck yeah. Are we gonna talk about how Megumi shoots a shadow through water?
I was getting big Shikamaru vibes from that. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, and can Shikamaru even do that?
I don't know.
He can like stretch shadows and
across water.
Yeah, I don't know.
Under the water, I don't know. The shadows can be anywhere, really, right?
Yeah, that's true though.
I guess we just never saw him do it, but I don't know, man. He might not be this cold with it.
No, you could be right. I don't know.
I just thought that was so sick. He comes out the fucking bottom of the ocean with a shadow explosion, drops the Thule off. What does she say?
She just said, "Megumi,
you're a cocky brat.
You're a cocky brat." It's like, thanks for the peace, cuz.
It's like, you're a year older than me. How am I a brat? You know, like, you ain't no old person. You don't get to call me that gaki.
Yeah. Dude, Maki's about to fucking go crazy on this dude. Yeah.
No, I'd like to see him, man.
It's interesting, Kiko, that you were saying like you were thinking this is gonna be a 2v1 because I guess since Megumi is like in this like shadowy energy coming out of the ocean or whatever, I guess I kind of just assumed he just came in, dropped off the weapon, and is about to leave. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But like I guess he could.
I don't think he can. The domain is too hard to get out of. It's easy to get in. He breaks in with his shadow ability, but him getting out seems unlikely. I mean, he could, but
there's definitely reinforced defense on the exit. That far exceeds how hard it is to like get in. We were talking about that.
And I get that, but I mean, like, I guess in the past we've seen people break into a domain, and here you are, you're a person just in a place, right? But this shadow stuff is broken into the domain, and he's in that shadow stuff. So what if his domain is able to come
just
back
move
out
around.
again?
Oh shit!
Like,
exempt him from domain rules,
pierce and do things, and then extract itself back to where Megumi was.
But would Megumi do that though? Would Megumi just be like
off the weapon?
Yeah, but I mean, like he could see that he can read the situation. You know what I mean? It's like, couldn't he? You know what I mean? He's like, it's like, is that really like I'm gonna show up, drop this off, and then would he bail? Like, good luck now that you have your weapon. Like, peace out. Like, it doesn't. You know, what if Toji's like right behind him? It's a real Zenin reunion here.
I'm sure y'all are right. I kind of like when I was reading, I forgot the stipulation that when you enter a domain, it's very hard to leave and it's easier to enter. So you're probably right. He's probably gonna stick around.
Well, and now that you mention that, Megumi's here, and I feel like none of us have brought this up.
Yeah.
What happened with the Toji situation?
Yeah, we gotta cut back and see.
He was going back to the top of the building, wasn't he?
He was
already up there.
Megumi was.
Yeah.
He told Yuji like, "Yo, get out of here. I'm gonna go handle shit on the top."
Yeah. So what if Toji's in his domain with him and they talk something out and he's like, "Hey, let's go. Hey, Naobito and Maki are fighting this fish."
That's too much. That's bringing so much to fight.
And Toji and Maki are about to piece the fish up together. No cursed energy.
Bro, chill.
Yo.
But I mean, like, what is...
I just think... Yeah, I think this is just so much manpower for this one curse. Like, what does this really mean for Gojo if they really need this much manpower?
Nabito's out of there.
But no, see, I don't really believe he's out of there. I feel like he is incapacitated for now, but can come,
this is the first damage he's taken. He's not going to be out after the first damage he's taken.
I mean, he got punched in the face and sent, through trees, to the horizon.
Well, that's typical for manga and anime, I would say.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, man. That
so
looked like he got ground up.
He did
I want to
get
talk
engulfed.
about Naobito here. I want to talk about Naobito here because before the panel where he's catching it dead in his shit right here, he says the force of the Shikigami isn't slowing down at all. Could it be the technique connected to this domain is ellipsis?
Yeah, dot, and then he gets, dude. I was like, come on, man.
And we don't know what he what he's inferring from this. But what it seems to me is that this really kind of reinforces what I was saying of slowing down frames and speeding frames up, because he's trying to slow down the fish's frames attacking him, and they're not slowing down because of domain rules. So I'm pretty confident he's slowing down and speeding frames up. With that, that just kind of really made sense, whereas we were talking about, Nickums had Zahando type, removing space, and you were talking about, Nox was talking about like a YouTube bar, which all of those things could still be the case, because they're really all very similar and very related. But I think that at very least he when he slows frames all the way down to one frame and traps you in one frame, you know, like that just seems logical at this point.
Oh, it's like a Chronos 2.
I suppose you could kind of draw that conclusion from it. I was kind of more thinking that he was really just about to figure out and like come to the conclusion of what Dagon said like right afterwards is like, since the sea is an endless source of life, I have an endless stream of Shikigami that I can toss at you. So he was more so saying like, okay, under typical circumstances, somebody would not have this many and the amount is not slowing down at all. So it must be unlimited. But before he can say that, he gets cracked. And then Dagon states what is 70? Because we get because we kind of get the cliffhanger on what he was about to say. But
then what is like 70% of what is 70% of unlimited then? How are you splitting 70 and 30% of an unlimited reserve?
Yeah, I think there's two things here. One, he has an unlimited source of ammo being monsters from the sea, but that's his, Juryoku.
Oh, so it's potency.
Yeah.
It's potency. So it's 70% potency.
Yeah. He's focusing 70% of Juryoku on restraining Naobito and 30% Juryoku on, restraining Nanami, and now he's about to give hands to
stop.
Getting him out of there.
And then he's gonna give hands to Maki. Yeah, definitely.
Man.
Okay.
And she gets punched through some fucking trees too, right through into that fucking forest.
And then she walked right back out. She said, "What's cracking?" Now, dude, that was so badass. She's like, "If you're gonna call me the weakest, then one shot me, bitch."
Hell yeah.
What?
That was so sick.
I was like, yes.
So much.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I'd love to see her piece this motherfucker Dagon up.
Bro, I swear to God, the start of the next chapter is gonna be just a flurry of roaming cloud, 3-sectional staff. I can't fucking wait.
Shit, I underestimated this one. I should have got her out of there.
Yeah. And then obviously, like Hiko was talking about, with like Megumi kind of like sitting back and being like a caster type. I can definitely see him like providing, support in, because the last time we saw Chimera's Shadow Garden, he just had, all types of Shikigami coming out the fucking shadows. You know what I mean? And I think another technique that he was using was he was like jumping in shadows, and like hiding in them and then like coming back out. You know what I mean? It's hard to remember, but like
I'm pretty sure he did. He can just teleported
move
through shadows.
He can just move freely through shadows, bro. Like I could totally see him just like providing crowd control while Maki, is like she is the DPS and the tank at the same time. Even you know what I mean? Like, but he can provide taunts and shit. Like he could throw the frog out there to like to stun him. While she smacks him across, you know what I'm saying? Like all types of shit.
And that's just a good dynamic with our, MC3 right here, like you got Yuji, and that's a lot of Shonen MCs are the physical type that run in and fight and, is the front tank. Whereas not a lot you see, like Megumi is definitely a support caster type. Sure, he can give some hands, but like, at the end of the day, he relies heavily on his Jutsu Shiki and, his Shikigami, whatever, like he's casting fucking Shikigami to do his bidding. And he's very intellectual based. And then Nobara is the perfect, like, in between, she'll give hands, she'll get physical. She does have to use, her Jutsu Shiki, her Jutsu Shiki too. She can use it long range and use it close for, like, I just like the dynamic to actually see a character that's this important. Like Megumi's clearly like MC1B, right? Like for a long time in the story, it really seemed like he's 1B. And I don't want to liken it to Naruto and Sasuke, but obviously there's at least a little bit of that, right? Like you got it. You can't ignore the fact that Megumi, I mean, who else has a prequel with their dad, and he's a kid with, getting passed on, it's like, Megumi's definitely MC, 1B. So, but it's just a completely different, dynamic that I feel like you see from a lot of shonen, especially when there's a rivalry there, but it's a respectful rivalry still.
Even inside of Nobara, I feel like Nobara, like if Yuji is 1A and Megumi is 1B, you'd want to say that then that makes Nobara like MC2, but like she feels like MC1C. You know what I mean? Like she gets just as much. Like she might not have her like past fleshed out or you know, like a whole bunch of her motivations focused on, but she's been in the spotlight just as much as Megumi, if not more.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like,
no, I definitely, I mean, that's what's
so
great
fucking
about
cool.
Gege's writing is that he gives all the time needed to all the characters that need to have it. And sure, maybe we want some more Todo right now, or maybe we want some more Miwa. I personally like Miwa, you know, like
even more Nobara. We all just even want more Nobara.
Yeah,
you know
of course we do. Yeah,
we want more of everybody because
we're only at 100 chapters here.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Like, we can't get everything. We gotta wait. You know, like time's got to go by. But like. The time spent on the characters all really makes sense, and obviously Gojo had a lot of time, but it was to warm up for this arc, you know, like that was needed, you know. So,
100%.
Yeah,
great. I love the allocation of time between characters.
Me too, dude. But that's all. That's all I
got.
had.
I think that's it. That's all I had as well. So with that, we can go ahead and move into chapter 71 of Chainsaw Man. Bath. Getting a little high and heavy this chapter with power, man.
Dude, but first and foremost, the popularity rankings on the color. Kobeni's car has a ranking.
Yep. Power number 1. Yeah.
And higher than Kobeni.
7th.
Higher than Kobeni.
Higher than Kobeni is Kobeni's
That's why she
car.
resigns. That's why she resigned, because her car is more popular than her.
And of course,
that's sad, bro. Like,
if you guys saw me on Twitter, you saw I called Power number 1 a couple of times on a couple people's different posts and my own. I said Power, our future Nobel Peace Prize winner, better be number 1 because she. I just love her so much.
Machima number 2, of course. Reze up there. I love to see that.
I'm surprised Reze is above Denji. Actually, I mean, like.
Yeah, me too. I was surprised. Yeah, you felt it. 5? What is it?
She's really likable, I think.
No, she was very likable.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean the color cover too, you know, like I mean they're giving Makima thick booty. I mean it's so thick you can rest a fucking intestine on that bitch, you know? Like, he said his intestine right on there.
Another abstract color scheme too.
Oh
like that.
Shit! I didn't even see that. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Do you guys think
he definitely set his intestine on that booty?
She probably taller when she sits down.
Oh yeah, she definitely is.
Do you guys think the color scheme in the anime will be really like kind of bright and abstract like this, or do you think it will be kind of really?
I would love to see
that. I'm for it. I'm on either side. If it's gonna be realistic, I'm fine with that. If it's gonna be this is tight. I like
this.
I like that too. I personally
would
like
an incredible color palette. Yeah,
it really is. Like
you
this
see a lot of guts and stuff flying. I think it would kind of actually make it a little less like horribly visceral if shit was colored like this.
Yeah, definitely. I can deal with fucking, you know,
be like, oh shit,
hot
this
colors
is as hell. What the fuck is going on? Instead of like, Jesus Christ! I like
you know, like if you're giving me teal fucking intestines, that ain't so bad, right? Like it's just party time. You know, it's just streamers. We're having a good time out here, right? It's party time.
Laffy Taffy.
Laffy Taffy. Yeah. But this is the third time Kobeni's quit, so she's coming back. She'll be back, and she has to be back. We know her situation, right? Like she's working for her family while her brother's like, you know, going through college or something. She's like supporting the family or some shit. She's been forced to do this, and she said it's either this or prostitution. So like, I assume she's coming back, right? Like,
Sure.
I mean, I don't, you know, but the first time she quit was after the Eternity Devil. And the second time she quit was after the Katana Devil, but they were offering the annual bonus, so she had to come back and get her annual bonus. So yeah. But talking about just Kobeni and her quitting, it kind of segues well into the losses overall.
We get the aftermath
occurred.
We
get the aftermath. Yes. So you got
before we go into that, I just want to say one thing. This very first panel was so wholesome and so fucking cute and so like I never thought that I would see a panel of Power sleeping on a recovering Denji's like stomach like that, like waiting for him to wake back up. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just thought that was just like a really wholesome beginning to the chapter, but
it's very cute. Very cute.
Yeah. I mean, it was cute overall. I mean, because Power and Denji don't have a romantic relationship, clearly, you know, after all this. Like, this is more sibling-like at this point, which, I don't know, maybe that continues that route, or maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I mean, you could see this, I guess, developing romantically, but Denji's like, I just don't feel this. So
right,
you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's
he
not,
says that multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And but yeah, so Aki has one arm now. His other arm was not able to be reattached.
Crazy.
They were able to reattach one of his arms, which that was crazy as fuck already. Angel has no arms. You can't attach either of a devil's arms. That's weird, you know. But or you know, like why can't you attach his arms?
But Violence you can attach Aki's. It's just dead.
Violence Fiend and Beam are dead. Beam is dead.
Beam is dead.
The boy.
Are we kidding, man? That it hurt, man. It hurt. Desperate.
That did hurt.
Oh,
I was really hurt on that.
Can't kill Beam. Fujimoto,
Beam.
Man. Come on, man.
And see, like
Beam.
in the Violence Devil, I feel like was a waste because we never got to see anything related to the poison that they made a big deal of under his mask.
Yeah.
They made such a big point to say that plague doctor mask is hiding a fucking noxious poison.
Now, but what if that was a lie, right? Because he just said that to Kobeni, right? Like, if I ever take off my mask, you just gotta run. And what if he was just saying that to not expose his identity to Kobeni?
Oh.
Yeah, because he's Arai. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
We talked about that, and that's why they say when fiends become when you become a fiend, you may or you may not retain a lot of the consciousness of the corpse you know assimilated with. Inhabit.
No,
exactly.
because I don't think it was like that, because when we first saw the Violence Devil, he was introduced with Beam when they were fighting those Katana Devil arc. The zombies. When they I think they were the zombies, and they, you know what I mean. And like when Beam was introduced, when Beam was introduced, they talked about how he can swim through solid matter, and there was like an exposition from like Kishibe, I think, in like a narrator dialogue box that said what their abilities were, and then when it got to the Violence Devil, I think it was Kishibe's words specifically that says he's hiding a ridiculously crazy noxious poison underneath his mask.
You could be right.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was Kishibe. I don't remember. I feel like it was Violence Devil or Violence Fiend saying it at that time. But Violence Fiend was newly made, reincarnated, whatever you want to call it. And maybe that's just what Makima told him, you know, like at the time. Yeah. It's really hard to say. But I am kind of a little bit on the fence now with the fact that a devil gives up its place as a devil to assimilate with the corpse to become a fiend. It almost seems like now a devil can just put part of its, you know, consciousness or whatever into a corpse and it becomes its own being, and that devil still exists elsewhere. So I've been on the fence for that. I wanted it, or I felt like it at least felt like devils actually give up their position as a devil or whatever to become a fiend. Because I was saying, like, it makes sense that they would want to get out of bad contracts. We have seen people that seemingly use devil abilities without giving up anywhere near like what Aki has to give up, right? Like Aki and Kishibe, when they look at Kishibe, it's like his body has nothing left to give up, you know, like for his devil. So it just seems whatever devil he's got a contract with, which we don't know. But
we do.
What, Kishibe's devil?
Yeah,
he has a contract.
We've heard several of them, the knife and the
you're right. Yeah, knife, claw, you
needle.
But we haven't really seen it. Needle, we never really actually saw it, right? Okay,
right.
But yeah, hard to say.
But
obviously,
what in this chapter has changed your mind about that? That devils don't completely inhabit a fiend; they could be separate from the fiend. Like what about this chapter made you think
take
that?
a look. I don't know exactly what. Let me think. It felt like the dialogue somehow. Yeah, I don't know. Just when I was reading the dialogue, I felt like it kind of came off that way, and I can't say exactly what it was now that I'm thinking about it. But
sure.
That's fine. Yeah. But I mean, like, but that is an interesting like new angle to it, right? Because it's like now that makes me think of like, okay, if you are just like separating some of your power, you know, to give to, you know, to put into a corpse, maybe like what would be the reasons for that? You know what I mean? So like if you're a devil that's like trapped in hell and you want to have an experience outside of hell, maybe you can just like break off some of your consciousness into a corpse that's in the living world. You know what I mean? So that you can have that experience, since Chainsaw isn't there to reincarnate you fully.
True. Yeah, and there's devils in the real world, and there's fiends in the real world. So it's not like devils are exclusive to hell, which maybe that's what it was that kind of made me feel that way. Like, I don't know, like if a fiend dies, like what does that mean? You know, like do they get reincarnated in hell? Do they not? You know, like I don't know, just the fact that fiends died and maybe nothing was really said about what happens with them made me feel like it was too easy and that they couldn't have been a devil. I don't know, maybe it's still not the case, because if they were a devil, they go to hell, they get reincarnated. They actually do get reincarnated and go to hell. Whereas a fiend maybe does or does. I don't know, man. It's you get in your own head trying to like run circles around this story, trying to figure it out. And I feel like sometimes I back myself into a corner.
I mean, well, shit. I mean, when you have such little exposition to go off of, it can be really easy to run into walls like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I mean, at least there's options there for the logic, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting that Aki said Violence and Shark are dead. He didn't name him Beam. He said Shark. And so I don't know if that means anything, like just being informal or whatever, or maybe he didn't even really know his name all that well. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's still possible that the devils completely inhabit the body of the fiend.
Yeah, I'm not saying definitively one way or the other. I don't know. It felt like maybe we would get a little bit more info, but again, I mean, it's Fujimoto. Like, we don't get a lot of exposition to this kind of thing. But maybe that's just where I was kind of feeling. It's just like it felt so easy that the devils are just like the fiends are gone, and there's no explanation on any of it. You know, they're just dead right now, and that's it. They're out of the story, right? And they're just out of the story. We're never going to talk about them again, and that's possible. Fujimoto story, but like, man,
Beam, the dude, Beam and Violence were so
that's what I'm saying,
sick,
like Beam
dude.
too, like Violence had loose ends I felt like needed to be tied up, and Beam just was too wholesome and held Denji down too much to just be out so easily, you know, like that's just why I felt like I don't know, we're not gonna know, but I feel like
not for a while at least.
I feel like I should be able to, you know,
have closure.
I need closure on Beam for sure.
Another aftermath we get is that Power's like broken. She's like super afraid of the dark now, super sad.
Super sad. And Fujimoto writes trauma
clean
so well. I feel like, you know what I mean? It feels very real. Her fear of the dark that she has now, and that we see in these scenes where, you know, she just randomly says, "It's behind me now." And he's like, "No, it's not behind you. You know, it's under my bed." And he's like, "No, it's not. It's not under my. Well, don't leave because it's right outside this door. You know what I mean?
It's in my mouth. It's
in my mouth.
The darkness devil fed me a piece, like which was weird because she didn't see that. You know, like I kind of thought, I was like, but maybe not. It's hard to say. Like what. Even though she got hit with the Darkness Devil's attack and she may have been in hell at the time, they all get transported back. I don't know if she really sees that or not, but that was one thing that maybe stood out to me a little bit. And maybe that is just a common way a devil dispenses power too, you know?
I mean, where did she say that?
That it's in her mouth?
Well, she says it's in her mouth, but like, that doesn't mean she saw the feeding to the lady.
That's what he's saying. He's saying I'm just
inferring that, like, why would you say, "Oh my god, the darkness devil's in my mouth," unless
because there's darkness in your mouth. Like, open it.
Sure.
It's all dark in there.
I guess.
It's creepy. You're afraid of the dark really bad.
Sure.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's what I took out of it.
Yeah. Of all the darkness, I wouldn't be scared of the darkness in my mouth. You know, that's the one darkness I think.
This is just like the irrational fears that come from a traumatic event. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like everything related to it. You're thinking about it. There's so many triggers that you have in your life now that make you remember that traumatic experience. So
and especially after seeing what the damn thing was capable of and not even knowing what was doing it. Like nobody knew that it was like the skeletons or the spirits slicing people up. Like. For all you know, from the darkness inside of your mouth, it could just be like spike out of the top of your fucking head.
Now all of a sudden, hey, this shirt's a little bit too dark. I need to go change. It's not black, but it's a little bit too dark of a shade for me.
I mean, shit. If I saw that devil in real life, I'd be afraid of the dark too. I'm sure.
Yeah, dude.
Oh hell yeah. I mean, especially after you see the fucking chainsaw sparks and you get to see like secret fucking people in the fucking darkness. Oh, that shit was scary as fuck. But yeah, like it goes. It's like a callback kind of. I mean, not maybe a callback since it's not that long ago, but just reinforces the fact that devils, fiends, whatever, are all scared of the primal fear devils, or carnal fear devils. Like, and that's strengthening the power of the devil, the darkness devil. The more scared they are, and I would even assume like the level of fear, and that if devils are afraid of you, that's more impactful than humans being afraid of you, right?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Like that's a higher, that's harder to do. Why would the space devil be afraid of the darkness devil, right? I mean, just throwing out something, but yeah. But if or the bat devil, because that's a way lesser devil that was like in chapter 2 or whatever the fuck. But like if the bat devil, bat devil is scared of the darkness devil, which would make all the sense in the world. But it's still a higher being than a human. I mean, if you consider devils a stronger,
just like less reason to be afraid of things.
Yeah, definitely. But so
another thing that I feel another thing that I feel like Fujimoto does really well is like I'm going through this chapter, and it's like Fujimoto throughout this series like makes it feel like this like this is gonna be a story about like Denji like losing more and more of his humanity, and is constantly like reinforcing the fact that he's still a very compassionate individual, and like isn't going to completely lose himself to this chainsaw thing. And we even see that if we flash forward to the end of the chapter, he's like, I don't care what's behind this door. You know what I mean? He's caring about like power. He's caring about just like life in general, and like all of his experiences that he's having that should, for anybody else, would probably like lead them down a path of, I don't know, disparity, depravity, you know what I mean? Like whatever word you want to use, but I mean like you could very easily, like it would make all the sense in the world if Denji just became a lifeless, emotionless killer devil demon thing, you know what I mean? And he keeps driving the point home that I feel like all it's doing is just making him more human. You know what I mean?
I agree. It's he's maintaining humanity throughout this inhuman experience more and more throughout the story. Like it's just, I feel like I know Fujimoto like more than I do, but I just feel like this is just, I just feel like we're good buds. We hang out. I had like a total fucking flashback of me and him talking in the fucking meadow together. Yeah, non-existent memory. Man, I just feel like this is just so him, and it's so weird for me to say something about somebody I don't know.
Fanboy.
I know. That's it. That's what it is, right? Like, I mean, maybe I can admit it here. But yeah, no.
Another thing that's really cool is that like he completely turned this like cringy, like horny Denji aspect into like real character development. Yeah, you know what I mean? Because you see how like before it's just like, Makima wants to like go anywhere with me and talk to me and do anything. Fuck everybody else. It's me and Makima time. You know what I mean? But now like his experiences with power and his feelings for power have developed to a point where it's not like becoming like a love triangle, but like you can see Makima being like, so you want to just like go take this trip, like just me and you? And he's like, nah, I got shit I got to take care of at the crib. You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
I agree.
And it's like, is Makima going to be annoyed or upset by that? Because a lot of this is like raining on like her, I feel like a major aspect is like like how much control she has over Denji, you know what I mean? If she feels herself losing that grip, she could be targeting power next or something along those lines.
Man, don't fucking do it.
Don't
She's
do
a
it.
Future Nobel Peace Prize winner. How dare you? but I want to take that even a step further. So Denji says no to Makima. This is the first time I think we've ever seen that. And he really doesn't know why, right? Like he's like, yes, I'm going. No, I can't go. Like it's instinctive. He instinctively made a choice to hold his team or family down, if you will, And like Denji's growth from this incident is just massive. And I feel like that's what those clothes drying on the fucking clothes hangers all symbolize family. They're all a family together that they're working through. And he needs to hold not only Power down, but Aki down too. Aki's got one arm, even though Aki don't show it and he's tough, he's fucked up, you know, like his boy A.N.G.A Lost 2 arms, you know, like, and that's weird.
That's
just
hurting.
In the fact,
that's hurting.
Yeah. Like Aki's hurt too. And obviously Aki's just like a ball of enigma in the fact that his feelings are very it's hard to kind of put a finger on him, even though like we kind of know that he's like a Sasuke-ish type, but not as you know, whatever.
He started off really tsundere rival type. Yeah.
And we've seen his growth, and they've grown together too. Like him and Denji are boys now, and that's just not how it was, you know, to start with. And I think that just Denji's growth is just massive here. Like it's just massive to think that I think it's just really great that he initially says, hell yeah, I'm going with, and then he's like, no, actually, I have other things. And then Aki even asks him why he doesn't go, and he's just like, I don't know, you know, like I don't know.
He knows,
but he instinctively chose to hold what's really actually important down. Makima at the end of the day is important in a weird, I don't know, not a weird way, but like a different way than Aki and Power are to him. And he's starting to see, especially when he's like an orphan kind of thing, like he was just a fucking poor person, like working off some fucking debt or whatever at the beginning. I don't really remember exactly the circumstance, but like basically
he was
his family may have sold him into,
like
his family almost sold him into it or whatever. So he didn't really have a family or anything, and that's where he's grown to see these people as this close thing. I got to family, I need to hold these people down, and I just really love it. And then I wonder if we'll ever get to see the end of that conversation between Denji and Makima, because Makima really leaves on one of them, like, you know, what can you really take from that? You know, like she's, you know, just I don't know.
She was giving the puppy eyes. You know what I mean? Like please come with me on this trip. You know what I mean?
It's so hard
because the last thing we see is like Denji's like indecisive, and then Makima's like smile. You know, like a and then you see Denji blushing, and that's the rest you hear of it. You know what I mean?
Well, when he says, hell yeah, I'll go. The next panel is Makima looking very smug and reassured, like, hell yeah, you'll go. I'm Makima, you're Denji, you better go. And then he's, I forgot, I gotta, you know, deal with my people. And she's very surprised at that. Like, you could, and then she says you could always leave her at the public safety facility. And then you get to see him looking really nervous. And you see Makima. It's hard to, I don't know really what to make of that panel and the face that she makes, because, I mean, it does look like, puppy dog eyes kind of, and Denji's blushing, but he's just really distraught over that situation. Sure, those might be puppy dog eyes, but I mean, they're disingenuous. They're disingenuous.
Well, of course they are. It's Machia, right? But like, but I feel like it can be puppy dog eyes, and she can be trying to manipulate him, and his expression is exactly what you expect, I think, in this situation. He does like Makima. He does want to go on this trip, but he's conflicted because he also wants to help Power. You know what I mean? Like Power needs him, and so he's very conflicted. So I think the interaction makes sense to me.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I just think that there's, I mean, I don't think, we all know there's more dialogue after this conversation, technically, right? Like, I mean, like, you know, they don't just get up out of their seats and walk different ways and leave.
That's fair.
That, right? There's definitely more to this than that, and I just, man, it's I just really want to see it, but that's not Fujimoto, really. We're just,
that's where I want to go with this conversation a little bit here, if I can take a little time here, is like going off of this conversation with Makima. Denji's obviously very like conflicted and confused, and this whole scene, this series of pages with him and Power, like he's like super confused, you know what I mean? And he even mentions like, this to me feels like this should be like naughty, quote unquote, but it doesn't feel naughty. And based on how way back in the story he's like super horny boy, you know what I mean, and like super horny for power at the beginning, you know what I mean. And then they take a bath together, and this whole scene where she's like, I want you, like she feels bad for, you know, holding him back from this trip, and she's like, you should drink my blood. And to me, this entire scene of "you should drink my blood" is a metaphor for sex. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they have sex, but like, it's like, I want to make it up to you, like, you know, have sex with me, or, you know, drink my blood. You know, it's like, what? Like, why? Like, I don't want to. Like, oh, but that means you hate me. And it's like, okay, I'll do it anyway. And I feel like it's starting to give me thoughts. Like, I don't really know fully how to articulate this, but like this door, you know, the door that Pochita says, don't open this door. Whatever you do, don't open it. Don't go near it. I feel like it's possible that Fujimoto, you know, given how abstract of a storyteller he is, or, you know, I've never read Fire Punch, but I've heard it gets, you know, somewhat, you know, avant-garde, you could say, you know what I mean? Like a little crazy at the end. I think it very well could be that this door could be more of like a metaphor, like a sex metaphor, like actually going and taking that next step. Or something about like taking relationship to the next level. And he's like purposely avoiding that right now because he's like officially said with this scene that like power is my friend, or basically a sibling, and like I don't think of her in this way. And so he's like, I'm going to take a step back away from this door. But like, it's interesting because the door, to me, it would be super crazy if it was some sort of like huge or major plot point, like an ability or a devil back there, or some like huge, you know, like magical thing. But I feel like it's very possible that this could be like a very much not a magical or plot type thing, but more metaphorical.
I would love that
thing.
Dude. I would love if this door wasn't like the door to Denji's Kurama.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like we have a lot of lore that suggests that it is, because we have the Infinity Devil obviously remembering, you know, Denji, or remembering the chainsaw aspect of Denji. We have Beam, you know, reinforcing that. You know what I mean? So I feel like I want to say it doesn't make sense that the door wouldn't lead to anything like that, but at the same time, I just love metaphorical storytelling.
Right.
And Fujimoto is obviously very good at that kind of thing, so I wouldn't put it past him. But I mean, we've been misdirected a million times in this series already. So and it's possible even if he opens that door and what's inside is like, say, the actual chainsaw devil, say, like that could still be a metaphor. You know what I mean? Like the chainsaw in him, you know, is like an erection, and, you know, going berserk and like, you know, is in the chainsaw mode is like, you know, letting your emotions take you over kind of thing. It still could be a metaphor and still also be a hugely plot relevant like ability type thing. But very this chapter was, I think, huge generally, and I think I'm gonna need to read it a couple more times to fully grok this interaction between him and Power, which is super powerful. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and we keep the theme of ignorance is bliss too, because like Denji's, you know, talking about not only the door, like I don't need to know what it is, because this way I can maintain happiness in my life, which he also is doing that with the circumstances of his enemies too. He's talking about how maybe if I knew what these people were going through, I wouldn't be so like emotionless about these losses that happened. Some other people have died here, and there is other casualties. I don't feel any sort of way about them because I don't know them. But if I did, would I have been able to, you know, cut them down? I don't know, maybe not, you know. And that's just all back to not only the ignorance is bliss, like I don't want to know type shit, but also just him maintaining his humanity within, you know, losing.
And this is a couple of different examples that we've gotten to this. I think in the Katana Devil arc, he saves that one girl on the train. In the in this most recent arc against, you know, the doll devil, when she gives the dolls their consciousness back, you know what I mean? And he's, you know, so I just feel like it's not like thrown in your face and shoved down your throat, but it's very like, just remember, like Denji is still a person. You know what I mean? And he wants to be a person. And he could very easily lose his grip on that humanity, but doesn't, because it's a choice of his own that he's deciding to stay the way that he is. You know what I mean? Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and just the stuff we talked about last week, and I mean, just the chapter last week of, I mean, ignorance was bliss was a part of the theme. I mean, because I was talking about like the fear of knowing everything and the fear of knowing nothing, you know, being involved. So just kind of hammering home, you know, ignorance is bliss is, it's kind of a weird position because it's like you could fear not knowing things or you can relish in not knowing things. And I mean, maybe not relish, maybe that's not the word, but like, you know, like thrive off of your ignorance because you don't know the truth on things. And that really
seeing
is
that a lot nowadays.
Let me throw in. I love where you're going with this, actually. Yeah. And like, so let me throw in a third option here that is coming to my mind here. So you're having a spectrum here of fear of not knowing, of the unknown, and fear of knowing everything, right?
Yeah, with Halloween.
Of the knowledge of everything. Now, I don't let's actually say that ignorance is neither of those two things. Because if you actually are afraid of not knowing things, are you truly ignorant? No. Because that means that you actually have a drive to know things, to overcome your fear of not knowing. Yes. So Denji is actually completely in the middle of those two extremes. Yeah. He actually does not have a fear of nothing, and he also does not have a fear of everything. He actually has because ignorance is bliss. He's like completely fearless about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that just tails off last chapter because you have Cosmos, you know, hitting them with the Halloween treatment, and you have the fear of everything. And then you got Kishibe, which he knows at least enough to like, I'm not unblindfolding myself at all through any of this.
Right. Well, that's where the theme kind of started, right, in this arc with Kishibe, and that like super like Tarantino-esque like dialogue that he has with Quan Chi at the table. You know, with the sheet or whatever that he wrote the messages on, and she's like, you should have stayed ignorant, bro. Like you should have. Ignorance is bliss. Like you should have laid the fuck down and not looked into this at all. Yeah, you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah, and Kishibe is super interesting in the fact that he clearly knows more than any of the other devil hunters, but he's trying his best to
not know enough to get
anymore.
killed.
Anymore. Yeah,
he knows too much, and he knows he does.
Yeah, exactly. And
no, he's gonna die, bro. He's gonna die, bro.
He probably will. Well, I mean, everybody dies in this fucking manga, but Kishibe's. It's not going to be a light, easy death. He's going to get a serious death, I feel like, and it's going to be impactful. You know, it feels like to me. But yeah, it's just great to have to see the. I mean, obviously, why we read manga in general is because of the continuity that you get, because it's one fucking actual long giant novel forever and ever, basically. Yeah. But. Even just within these two chapters to continue that theme, but expand upon it to the fact that like Denji isn't fucking, you know, fully ignorance is bliss, but he doesn't know a lot, you know, like he's definitely in the middle on that. And I like that a lot.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, man. That's all I had though.
That's all I had.
Well, with that, then I think we can move into chapter 179 of the Promised Neverland.
This shit's still going on?
Compensation.
And you want to know what?
This wasn't bad. This really wasn't bad.
Yeah. You want to know what?
I actually fairly enjoyed this chapter.
And it's crazy that we can. After, you know,
it is after hating for fucking 17 weeks straight.
I feel like we've been on a 17-week diatribe of this story, but this is cool. This is cool.
Yeah, it's not bad.
And if the story is going to continue in this rescue Emma arc, rescue Rukia arc, you know, like kind of like you know kind of way, then that's fine. Because at first when I'm going through the chapter, I'm like, okay, so she did lie. But then you fast forward to the end of the chapter, and it's like, no, she didn't lie. Something else just happened to her that we didn't. Because we're sitting here thinking, okay, they're going to the human world. They're either gonna all go there, and the story's gonna end in a couple chapters. They're gonna love the new world, and it's gonna be great, and then it's gonna be over. Or she lied, and she did give herself up, and then it still could be over, and that's just a really dark ending to the story. But now it's like, okay, she's just somewhere else. That she didn't think that even herself didn't think that she was going to go to, or maybe she did.
I don't know. Yeah. I think she did, and I think that she's leaving out parts of this promise.
Yeah. She told the truth enough.
Told enough of the truth. Yeah, exactly. And there is some other part that she has to fulfill, which gives us another arc, and to maybe kind of redeem the story a little bit. Because clearly we got a whole nother fucking arc now, right? Like now we're all. It's not over. This shit is not over.
If you think about it, it makes sense. It's like, why wouldn't there be an arc in this new world? Just like this is what Eagle was talking about.
Oh yeah.
Eagle, man. I was clowning you, bro. I was like, fuck that shit. I don't want a fucking arc in the human. He was like, maybe we could get a whole nother.
I think we were more mad than like
because we assumed that it was
actually
just giving
analysis. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because we were just assumed that it was because it was so bad.
I'll say
for
for me then I was mad and I wasn't getting analysis. I said, get me done. Let's move on to National or something else. We're done.
Well, I think it was because like the quality of the storytelling had depreciated so much that when we think about another arc, we're just assuming it's going to maintain that quality and drag on far
that shit
beyond
depreciated so much that fucking She-Ra can write that shit off on taxes for sure. That shit depreciated a lot, man. That's net operating loss right there.
But at the same time, I feel like now, at least with this chapter, there's like a glimmer of hope that like he hasn't completely like stopped being a good writer, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like out of nowhere, you know what I mean? Like maybe he just hit a low point. It's peaks and valleys. It's peaks and valleys that we don't normally see in shonen storytelling.
This actually is exactly what this story needed right now, because what this gives us, say the first page here, you see the first page from the last chapter. You already know we're in New York City, right? Because we saw the Statue of Liberty already.
Yeah.
And so when I saw this first page of the chapter, I was kind of like, that's not what New York City looks like.
No, why the fuck are there colonial buildings there?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was really confused. Yeah.
And so then you very quickly get like this extra setting, you know what I mean, of this, world, planet Earth in 2047 or whatever year it is. And like this is exactly what this story needs in terms of what the writer's good at, because think about what's been amazing about this manga, right? The beginning, in terms of mystery, showing us this new world, showing us things that we haven't seen before. And if we went into the United States in, say, 2015 or the United States in 2020, where it would look exactly as we expect it, then you couldn't have this arc. It'd be too boring, you know what I mean? Because we have this extra huge level of setting, now it's like it reinvigorates the wonder, you know what
I mean? Wow, you're so right, dude.
And the Statue of Liberty is a fucking hologram, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like we have colonial buildings, we have like a ton more grass than you'd ever see in New York City. From this angle, I imagine. The buildings are all like very much different kinds of buildings. They have like, traditional house type roofs instead of
that's that colonial,
flat tops or whatever. The Statue of Liberty is a hologram and stuff, like and then we get this exposition, right?
Look at the top of the buildings, Eagle. They look like fucking like something you would see on a medieval MMO.
What page?
Yeah, dead ass.
That's last. I think last chapter is where we see the Statue of Liberty.
But it was a hologram. It was a hologram in the last fucking chapter, the chapter before.
Yeah. It had like lines across it.
But it's 14. Page 14 is.
Is it this chapter? Is this chapter?
Yeah. On this chapter, yeah.
But we get like this exposition about how, this is the former United States of America. We're in a new region. Like the planet was like falling apart.
Government.
Like 2015, like 2020, there was a huge war and natural resource shortage,
borders were
epidemics.
abolished.
Yeah,
like
national borders being abolished.
This is cool
a dream come true.
Right. Yeah, this is really fucking.
It resonates a lot with our time right now.
100%.
Dead ass.
Yeah.
And Promised Neverland has already mentioned coronavirus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They spray painted Corona on that wall. Yeah.
And we made fun of that.
I mean, at the time, the time, it did actually seem quite insensitive and like kind of kitschy to like just bring it up randomly or whatever. But like,
but now,
the addition of more setting, like really, I think it paints a cool picture.
Yeah. I mean, how could this not resonate with people who like? I mean, pretty much anybody. But like, I feel like you got to have like your head in the sand to have this not resonate with you. Like, there's a lot of things. The only caring about yourself and greed would no longer work. Like, we have to care about everybody or we all go down. Like, Man, I got goosebumps reading that dialogue. That dialogue like hit me real hard, and I was like, "Oh my god, Promised Neverland is back!" I'm kind of mad, but I'm kind of happy. I don't really know what to do with myself right now. I thought we were done, but like this was a chapter, man. This was a whole ass chapter. Right here.
It seemed like too much of a 180 in like Kaiju Shirai's like writing like style. You know what I mean? Like we praise him for, 6 arcs straight. You know what I mean? Of compelling, like deep, like clearly this motherfucker's got a great head on his shoulders to be able to write the kind of story that we've loved for so long, to the point to bring it onto the show and review it, to the point where it sells as well as it does, to the point where it sweeps the nation as hard as it did when it first came out, and all of this shit leading up until this like
one of the best first chapters in the history of manga to me.
Like 100%.
Like it's
one of the best
it's in my top 3
ever.
first volumes of anything that I've ever read.
I was so sucked into the Gracefield arc. I didn't read shit else for a while. I was just like Promised Neverland, everything. Right?
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
so strong.
It was so strong. It kept that momentum for so long. The storytelling quality definitely, indeed, through our analysis we showed, started to taper significantly past a certain point. And Nick brought up a really good point.
If we do toot our own horns.
Yeah, well, hey, you want to know what? I like to think we know, at least to some degree,
least a little something.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. Eagle says we're all dumb.
I implore anyone who's watching this to.
I'm kidding.
I challenge anybody who's watching these segments. I don't know who watches these segments because we don't get a lot of Promised Neverland comments on our videos.
No.
So I don't know. I don't remember the last time we got one. You know what I mean? So like, if you are a Promised Neverland fan and you're watching these segments, maybe you stopped watching us because we've been
we get them peppered in once in a while. But
I mean, like, I challenge you. Tell us in our tirade that we've been on, for the Promised Neverland in the last like 6 to 8 weeks. Tell us where the lie is. Obviously, you can look at a chapter like this and go, "You guys jumped the gun." Sure, we'll admit that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but at the same time,
if Kaiju Shirai makes this all work perfectly, I will say 100% I was wrong. Just like I say about Chainsaw Man every fucking week. I was wrong.
I mean, those chapters were still subpar.
Yeah,
they were subpar.
I don't think anyone can disagree with that.
Right.
Subpar is being nice.
Just because like the story goes in a more positive direction, in a better direction after the bullshit. That's great. That good for you, but week to week.
That's good for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. But week to week is the most frequent pace that we can get these stories, and we analyze these and review them on a week to week basis. So inside of those individual analyses that we have for those chapters from week to week, tell us where we lied. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You can't fault any. Not just us.
Yeah.
You can't fault any manga reviewer for saying that those chapters were bad, because they were, and we were bored. If all 4 of us are bored, that's probably, obviously we don't represent the rest of the world, but like when 4 people are all bored with the story,
that we're huge fans. It's not like we've been talking shit about this series the whole time and are just looking for things to complain about.
Grace Field's one of the greatest fucking arcs of all time. Like
let me all that shit.
Let me tie in a criticism we had with, I think, how actually our criticism will be used to cap off this story. So during the second Grace Field arc, you know what I mean, like the more recent one where there was like a lot of kitschy shit and the maids randomly turned and you remember
what
we just got done with, right?
You remember.
Yeah, you remember. But
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
At the time, I think part of the reason that we were so upset was that it seemed like this was the end of the story, because you start with Gracefield, you end with Gracefield. Doesn't that like just feel good to like have that kind of cap at the beginning and the end?
Yes.
Yeah.
But here, this chapter mentions, we're playing hide and seek again. Start with hide and seek, end with hide and seek. And what if we end with a really cool, in the human world, hide and seek arc that actually like has like some cool new plot and some cool setting and stuff like that would, in the same way we were wanting and expecting to happen, cap it off in the exact same way.
Yes, absolutely. Very, very well said. That would be so chef's kiss. And and honestly, like the way that Kaiju Shirai is injecting this Ratri, representative in this episode or in this chapter, is cool, because like when you think about, when we were talking about in the last couple chapters about how, you know, the dialogue that we got that says that the Ratri clan could go back and forth from the human world to the demon world to bring supplies to make all of the, you know, cattle children think that it's a certain point in time and give them all of these books for their libraries and whatnot. We never really thought about like what that meant for the world that he was going back to. We only really talked about like what that meant for the world that he was coming from. You know what I mean? So it's really cool to see this Ratri representative here give us this exposition about what this world means in 2047, because now it's like, okay, they're trusting these people, obviously, because they had no choice. They came down on a fucking Independence Day ass helicarrier, you know what I mean? And fucking UFO. And said, get in here or his problems, you know what I mean? So what are you gonna do? But at the same time, it's like, even though this man is
problems.
But even though this
that shit did hit me in a weird way. I'm like, what the fuck? Flying Dorito comes in and we're like, what's going on here? Like, what the fuck's happening in this manga? Like, and then you're like, okay, that's fine. That makes sense, I guess, right? Like, I mean, it's 2047 and maybe you do flying on a Dorito. That's fine with me. But like,
when in Rome.
Yeah, when in Rome.
When in Rome. Oh my God.
On this motherfucker.
Yeah, no, and he comes out that bitch too, don't he? Like he's actually inside.
It looked like he
and,
climbed up out of the hatch.
He climbed out of the hatch.
Yeah, so that's pretty sick. But really the last thing I have to say about this, which is really kind of like, I don't know, like it's definitely kind of head turning a little bit, is that Cicero disagreed with Norman on this shit, and where Norman is talking about,
I'm just glad Norman has speaking roles again.
No. Yeah, I mean Norman had sure. Norman and Ray, I don't know like why they don't get more, but whatever. But Norman's saying like this world isn't at war and the environment isn't significantly polluted. Actually, with national borders abolished, there's no concept of immigrant. Okay, so maybe that's the Ratri guy saying that, but then he says we're lucky, but Cicero's mad as fuck. Like, what? We're not lucky at all, you know? Like, and maybe that's just the anger that Emma's not with him. But
why would he give a fuck about Emma as much as
why does Cicero give a shit about Emma more than Norman? You know, like I don't know, but maybe Norman's just big braining it. Like, okay, Emma did what she had to do, and like this was for everybody, and this was the greater good. Yeah, and that's totally fine.
Another question I have is, where is Zazie?
Well, not good.
He's out of here. He got cut in half, didn't he?
No, he lived. He got backhanded by Legra Valima, knocked in his fucking head, and they were like, no, he got one-shotted by Legra Valima and like hit his head in a way where we thought he was out of here. But then they had a specific dialogue where they were like, he's good, and they brought him back with the Adams.
This panel.
Is he?
Yeah, you can see
which one? What page?
Text bubble behind Barbara.
What page?
16.
On page 16. Yeah.
I mean,
in that same dialogue, in that same panel Mike was pointing out with Cicero.
Oh, yeah. Yep, that's right.
Oh.
It's very hard for me to even see a face there, but I know who. I see what you're saying.
I mean, it is. Yeah. Okay.
You can see the bag sliced
up.
Yeah.
All right.
He's still wearing the
sliced up. And Zazie didn't get a brand new bag?
No, he didn't get a brand new bag. And you want to know what? It makes sense that he hasn't had any speaking roles because obviously it's Zazie. But at the same time, it's like you can give him one panel where he's in focus. You know what I mean? Like you can show him once. You know what I mean?
Like he's about to attack the Ratri guy. Like that would have been something where he's like,
give him a scene like that. I mean, or just like put him in more of like just like a scribble in the background where you can tell that it's him, but like you have to zoom in to see it.
How is Cicero and Barbara just like not totally incompatible? Like, what did they get impaled and cut in half? Like, what the fuck? They took some serious. Those two.
Cicero lost a leg.
Yeah, they took more damage than Zazie, I would say.
Yeah, they took a big. I'm pretty sure Barbara got totally
legitimately impaled. But at the same time, she's a like a biologically enhanced.
Enhanced human. Sure,
she's a universal super soldier in Lambda.
Super soldier. That's fine. That's That's fine with me. Yeah. But when I originally read it, I'm like, man, y'all are talking like you're okay. Like, how are y'all okay? Y'all just got impaled fucking, I mean, maybe it's 30, 50 chapters ago, whatever, however many chapters ago. It really just happened last week in the story. Like, you don't just, you just recover from getting impaled last week, right? But yeah, I mean, who knows how much time has passed. But yeah, Cicero just disagreeing with Norman in general, like, stood out to me because they just worship Norman and think he's a god almost, basically, and they just will blindly follow anything Norman says. So for him to disagree with Norman's assessment,
but not just that, as you say, like, to disagree about something that he really shouldn't even care about that much. Like, he probably doesn't care about Emma that much because they only know each other for a very short time. He's very aligned with Norman. Like, I will definitely agree with you. It does seem out of character for him to be so upset about the situation. I kind of honestly just wrote it off as like, we have some residual campiness from, you know, the last like 10 chapters where it's like, things are like as Norman says, they're lucky, like things are just going peachy keen for him. If Emma was there, they'd be all smiles and rainbows and the manga would be done, and the only reason anyone is upset is because Emma's not even here. So it's like, I was just they're just,
that's very
dialogue,
very fair. That's very fair, very fair.
That's all I had.
That's all I had.
Well, then with that, we can go ahead and move into chapter 252 of Black Clover, Water Crusade.
This chapter was so tight.
Super tight.
The art was crazy. So another theme, like a theme like inside of like the conflict inside of this chapter. I feel like inside of like Jujutsu Kaisen, we had water versus blood a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And now we're looking at water versus blood again in Black Clover. That's a cool coincidence that we can notice here. The art inside of the Blood Magic Red Beast, beautiful panel.
Super
beautiful
sick.
Panel. That design was amazing. And this completely contradicts what I was saying last week about how Vanica doesn't have, like, or may not have, you know, her own, like, maybe like her magic is rejuvenation of her allies and she just boxes you. That's a point that I was making last week. But then we get exposition inside of this chapter that says all of the Dark Triad have their own innate magic, and then the magic of their devils. I don't know if we've ever talked about that before, but like
we did.
Yeah, okay.
Like we mentioned that.
I think we've talked about it, but I think this is the chapter where it's explicitly confirmed that they all have two magic types. Like, that's, I think we were hypothesizing about, like, oh, does he have two magic types, or are they? I think we have definitely thought of the idea that they have a devil type and a regular magic type, but it's very nice to have it completely confirmed here.
Yeah, and it makes so much sense. Like it's like obviously like once we get to the exposition, we're like, well, yeah. But then, you know, it makes you go, okay, like Dante, we didn't see two different kinds of magic.
No, we did. We did.
Well,
he healed himself. He healed himself.
Yeah, people were saying like it was some kind of. When I was seeing something about it, they were saying like it was skin magic for some reason. I don't.
And it is possible that it was skin magic, but we saw that, you know, it was gravity magic, and then he healed himself, and we were hypothesizing, like, I think I mentioned, like, oh, what if he's using gravity to like pull the pieces of his skin together and heal himself or whatever.
Oh,
but he definitely,
I remember.
Like, he definitely healed himself. So there's definitely at least two magic types he's using there. Now, it's interesting you bring up skin magic, Kiko, because, you know, that other officer or whatever in this Spade group has skin magic, and Vanica has blood magic. And so now, like, every single person except Dante has on the Spade team officially has a body type magic.
Yeah.
Blood, skin, nails, eyes, tongue, hair,
and then bone inside of Xenon, right?
And bone. And so it is possible that Dante has all these magics, every single one of them, and and his magic ability, because he often has talked in the past about, like, I'm gonna make your magic my magic. That's my magic, referring to other characters. Like, no, that belongs to me. And it doesn't mean like I'm going to control it, or does it mean I'm going to acquire that ability in some innate level or whatever. So did
Xenon show us two different kinds of magic?
Yeah.
Did we see?
Yes, he did.
So we did. What did we see? So we saw bone magic, and then we saw what else? What was his devil's magic?
barrier or dimensional magic, because him and Yuno were trapped in some kind of cube. He sealed himself and Yuno in like a body, type fucking cube. And it might be it might be something like that, or it might be dimensional. Whatever it is, he definitely sealed him and Yuno in some kind of space that was away from the actual world of some kind, or maybe it's not away from the world, but it was definitely some kind of restricted space for sure.
Okay.
One thing that I thought was crazy about this chapter was just this information that we got on Lolo Pachica's like cumulative knowledge throughout the years of all the princesses.
Yeah, dude, shit.
Yeah.
It's like almost I don't know, one for all esque, like
like where else have we seen this dynamic? We've seen this. I've seen this in comic books before. I swear to God, I've seen this dynamic in comic books.
It's the knowledge version of Spirit Wave Orb, right? Like
or Link in Zelda.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah, doesn't Link in Zelda like get all of the like previous like links like inside of like the current Link?
Oh, I mean, if you consider I think we should probably avoid this tangent, but I have often theorized that like Link is always like the reincarnation of the hero is the player, and so in that sense, yes, you do get the inherited knowledge from past games or whatever. But like we should probably avoid that.
Well, I just remember in like a death battle, they did a death battle for Link versus Cloud on Screw Attack, and like one of the points that they made inside of that death battle was that like Link encompasses like knowledge of all of the previous Links that have ever existed in like his current form. So whenever a new game comes out, it's that Link plus like
that.
Okay, so games never said that.
And being that there's 3 timelines, I mean, you could only assume that the links of the same timeline would embody that.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it almost seemed like getting back to this mental headspace here, like she was able to just kind of like, for lack of a better, it was almost like she was able to Google search this shit. Like she literally just said dark magic, world tree magic, and it almost seemed like it was all automatically scanned and it brought her to anything that directly correlates with those two things together, because the first book she pulled out showed her all the demon realms and shit, which is combining world tree magic and dark magic is how you achieve opening the realms and shit and letting these demons out. So it seemed pretty cool that she could just like have any knowledge on demand like that, man.
I totally agree that how that was portrayed in the imagery, super cool. Though, in my opinion, there is, and we'll see if Tabata actually, uses this in any way past right now, because like to me this seems like there's no world that she goes into with a bunch of books and floats around and like pulls them off the shelves. That is what it's drawn, but that's a metaphor. Like all she, and if you imagine, what's the alternative? If she just has the collective memory of all the past princesses or whatever, the panel would be darkness and world tree, and she'd like have a panel of her eyes closed for a panel where she's thinking, and then the next panel she would know it, and so that'd be super boring, and so you need to draw something to like exposition like through art, like what is happening here. And so I don't think there's actually like this world in which like she's like floating around and getting books, because that just seems like it would take forever. Or if it's instantaneous, what's the difference between that and just thinking, right?
Right.
But I agree with you.
I get what you're saying.
Super beautifully drawn.
I get what you're saying,
halfway agree with you, but like the fact that it is kind of like an ability, like separate from her own, like it seems like it's something.
It could be, and like
that's
I guess I agree, because
right?
it does say that is an inherited ability, and to me, on the one hand, that's just kind of nonsense. Like, why does she have this ability? No one else has this ability. Like, it seems arbitrary to give her this ability.
Yeah.
But giving
how is it linked to her innate magic?
Right. It's not. It's not. Right.
Yeah. No. Not to water.
Well, I think
priestess ability, and that makes sense. Go ahead, Eagle.
Well, I thought. Okay, so before I can make this point, I gotta ask you guys: do you guys think that Lolo Pachica is the first and only princess of the Heart Kingdom to ever like run it in the way she does with the water spirit, how she monitors and just kind of watches over everything.
Well, I mean,
because
it could be
I kind of was under the impression that's a thing that is kind of a mainstay, and they all work.
So do they just keep water mages as the princess of the place and just like transfer spirit from princess to princess so that they can
magic's transfer, so it could be, you know, just a regular, you know, monarchy where like the previous, you know, princess becomes queen every time.
That's what I'm talking
about. Didn't we get the dialogue that the water
like,
spirit always is like with the Heart Kingdom princess?
Yeah, I mean that doesn't.
I don't remember that, but
I thought
that's from Eagle asking that question. That makes me go, okay, so like every princess, like in order to keep this kind of like surveillance over the kingdom and to keep this kind of, you know,
my only point is
interaction
before you go into like your tirade is that I think with that this ability makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure. And
so
and you can link the collective knowledge of previous princesses to the fact that the hierarchy like goes down the line in regard to like appointing a water princess to running the entire country and transferring that sprite from princess to princess.
Or,
you know what I mean?
What if her water magic is from the water sprite? Like anyone can do fire magic, right? It's not that only fire people who've inherited fire magic can do fire magic.
Yeah.
It's definitely it's definitely very lineage based.
Yeah. Only Vermilions can do fire magic thus far, other than M.A.N.G.A.
Every single person who can do fire magic is literally related.
A Vermilion?
Yeah, a Vermilion.
So
other than
Mars,
but what about M.A.N.G.A? Yeah, M.A.N.G.A though.
M.A.N.G.A?
But
M.A.N.G.A's an example.
That's not true. Like,
so it's not true.
Anyone can do fire magic. It's just
they can't. No, they can't. They have to be. That has to be their.
Learn, right? Like, because it gets your grimoire.
You don't.
It has to be your attribute.
You don't. Yeah, it has to be your attribute. You don't get a book full of water spells and one day decide I can make a fire spell and you start getting fire spells.
No, that's not what he's saying.
No,
so like, okay,
but it is a lineage. It's passed on to you. You have an element that's passed on to you, regardless of how M.A.N.G.A got it.
Yeah, but not only Vermilions can use fire because they're Vermilions. You can be a part of a family that's not Vermilion or not royalty that has that fire attribute.
Yes,
so not just any. Yes. So going against what Nickums was saying about how. Yeah.
If the wind, if a sprite aligns with you, would the wind sprite ever align with you if you don't have wind magic?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then never mind.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. My favorite panel.
I just think with her, the way she's set up and the way the queens I think have been set up.
Yeah.
Is, you know, constantly surveying, always being fully, you know, full of.
I think that makes sense to me too, in the way that you can't retain all that information, right? Sure, maybe you can because it's a manga. We could just say whatever we want, right? But at the end of the day, it makes sense to me that a new princess, or not even just a new princess, any new, you know, ruler of this kingdom, even though they're endowed with all this knowledge, that they don't have it readily available in their mind and they have to go reference, because it does seem like, you know, if you're gonna compact a whole, I don't know, 10 generations. I mean, how many generations are we talking about? We don't know, but like if it's 10 generations of information in one mind, you know, we're talking about Halloween and fucking, you know, Gojo's fucking immeasurable void, which obviously is gonna fry your mind. But even maybe 10 people's worth of information in one brain now implanted into one brain might also fry your mind, even if it's just insignificant information that doesn't matter, just memories or whatever it means. But like it makes sense
with
to me.
With Gojo and Halloween, it's like an attack. With Gojo and Halloween, it's like an attack. You like when
but that doesn't matter.
Well, with Lolo Pachika, it could be like, you know, gradual. I mean, like maybe like, okay, so like if as soon as you're appointed a princess, you get all of this information, that could be a lot on your psyche. But like if it's like a gradual thing throughout your training to become the princess of this nation,
that makes sense.
You can get it in small amounts, and then it won't be overwhelming. Yeah,
but you're getting it in your own small amounts by researching and reading these books.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that
I mean,
make
like,
sense?
You can imagine like a computer, right? Like your computer has a hard disk and it's got a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
don't actually have to read it. It's just boom. Yeah.
But you're not like putting
Like
it all into RAM. You're not putting it all into memory at one time. You're leaving it in this space that's a big ass library.
Cache
And
and
if you need it, then you can access it, ad hoc or whatever, like this or that, whatever you need. And only get that specific information, so it wouldn't overload your mind in that sense or whatever.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
No,
I hope we get more explanation about like why she has this ability, because they kind of just wrote it off. They just said like all the princesses have this ability.
Yeah, it's all passed
Period.
on between.
Don't ask questions about it. I hope they explain that a little more, because
Oh my god,
like
I just remembered. Black Panther inside of Marvel Comics can sorry, Black Panther inside of Marvel Comics. There's like a spiritual space that the Black Panther can go into to communicate with previous Black Panthers to get their knowledge, and like even ones that have passed away, especially ones that have passed away.
I mean, that feels like what's going to happen with One for All too. Actually, in the future.
Yeah, it's literally the same thing as previous inheritors of One for All, previous inheritors of All for One. Now that we're getting in, or whatever.
Yeah.
But
there
like
isn't any, but yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's just like it's like a space. It's like an extra dimensional space where you can go and like share that knowledge. Yeah, share that knowledge from previous people who had your same position. I knew there was a comic book equivalent to this. I was like, what is that from? Yeah, fuck yeah. One thing that I wanted to say about this chapter, even though the art was beautiful, even though there was a lot that I liked about the chapter, I honestly feel like the dialogue that we get on like chapter 10 from M.A.N.G.A, where she says humans who are weak enough to die don't interest me. I feel like that's played out dialogue. That whole survival of the fittest like aspect to like villains, I feel like is very trite. You know what I mean? Like and I'm not saying that there's anything like I feel like I'm not saying that there's anything like ruining about that dialogue, but like just one criticism that I had about the chapter was like, do you really have to go the whole if you're not strong enough to live, I don't care about
the Darwinism route is always
it's like it's so easy. It's so easy.
It's been used a lot of times.
Yeah, it's very cookie cutter villain, you know what I mean? Like it's fun, and this all goes into like motivations, right? Like for their character and whatnot. When you sit there and you like isolate M.A.N.G.A as a character, you're going to be like, what is she all about? And obviously she's for the Dark Triad. They have plans that they want to see, come to fruition, but like her personally as a character, you're gonna come back to dialogue like this where she says, if you're not strong enough to live, then fuck you. And it's like, how many times have we seen that? You know what I mean?
And she's not horribly interesting, right? Like she's very maniacal and just like sadistic and like that's that, right? Like, at the end of the day,
and then you have this survival of the fittest, dialogue like sprinkled on top of that.
Which any sadistic person any sadistic person could warp fucking Darwinism the way they want it and say that this is the way of the world and I can justify my actions because
you're just not weak enough to stop me, or you're not strong enough to stop me.
It's the law of nature.
That's fine. Like, come on, bro.
I agree. Well, at the end of the day, this is a tropey shonen, so like that. I mean, it's fine. Like at the end of the day, like I'm not expecting like groundbreaking stuff, so like it didn't bother me, but you're 100% right that's been used a bajillion times,
a cool part of this chapter. Go ahead, Noxie.
I was just gonna say the page before that though is definitely a huge shout out to Miura here. This is probably my favorite panel or my favorite page in the chapter with these
looks
eyes.
Straight out of Berserk. I mean, not quite as good as art of Berserk, but like
of course.
The setting, the scene that you set here is very Berserk.
With the eyes at the bottom, with memories of like things above it, and you can even see like these people hanging on these trees in the background is very reminiscent of like the origin of Guts inside of the Golden Age with his mother hanging from the tree. Definitely very
even these devils or demons or whatever. I mean, you could definitely say that they look like, say, apostles from Berserk or whatever. These like big monsters or whatever. So like definitely like hugely reminiscent of Berserk. I really love that.
Yeah,
something
for sure.
On the next page I liked. On the same page as maybe the crummy dialogue from M.A.N.G.A. I like that this top panel says like over 90% of the people on the continent will die, and it will spell the end of the world. And for a second you're like, well, I mean, like, isn't the continent everything? No, it's not. No, Yami came from a different continent entirely.
Yeah.
So, like, it's reminding the reader that, like, that's not just this continent. This continent has 4 kingdoms. There's way more beyond this continent, which is, like, nice to be told now. Again, a nice reminder. Because it's like, I totally forgot about Yami's
I forgot too.
Yeah. But it's like, okay, we have more here we can explore, for sure.
I mean, I got a couple of things, man. I got a couple of different things. Like, first of all, Vanica using blood magic makes me feel like she's related to the Witch Queen, the only person we've ever seen use blood magic before.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is crazy because they do kind of look similar. You know, dark haired. It's a manga, right? At the end of the day, black is black and white is white. That's all we got to work with. So, like, you know, it's hard to say, but she's very dark featured.
Vanica,
Witch Queen,
Vanessa, VV.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, bro. Hold on, dude.
Yeah.
And we were talking about before Nickums got on the show. We were talking about when the Dark Triad was first introduced, who these Dark Triad members resemble. You know what I'm saying? And we were talking about how Xenon kind of looked like Yami, or maybe it was Dante kind of looked like Yami. Xenon kind of like resembled, you know, to a certain degree. Vanica now to Vanessa. If Tabata links these characters together in this way, that's huge. But at the same time, if Dante really was connected to Yami, then wouldn't we have seen some kind of hint of that in the dialogue? We
still have to go back to that plot point, though, don't we? Like, that plot point's not finished.
It's not over. It's not over.
Yeah, we could still get that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But I feel like there would have been some kind of hint that supported that in their very first exchange, because they did box for a little bit. You know what I mean? There was a lot of things that they said to each other. There was a lot that they expressed to each other in combat that, like, I feel like could have fleshed that possibility out. But
so we know now, we've already talked about it, it's 100% confirmed that the Dark Triad has their own affinity magic that they use and the Devil's affinity magic that they use. Who's to say that the blood magic is Vanica's magic? Maybe it's the Devil's magic, and that's somehow connected with the Witch Queen. Hard to say. I mean, she's got that curse warding magic, which was really not, there wasn't much on it. It's really weird. It's just some slashes. I feel like if we don't get some more on that very soon, that's
how does that really link back to rejuvenation of your allies?
No, that was the blood magic. Lost.
Oh, was it?
Okay, that makes sense.
That was the blood monster scratching on the
water.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But cursed magic, or this cursed warding magic, looks like Fire Blast from Pokemon. It's just kanji into a fire, and it's it's like, I don't really know what to take from this. You know, like it's really hard to go somewhere with that. But you know, as long as we get some kind of explanation on it later, that's totally fine. But
this double spread was beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. What is mana method? Mana
method is new. Mana method is new. Maybe it's a combination of mana zones.
Yeah, well, I feel like you have inputted your mana zone into the actual element, because it looks like Lolo Pachika's sucking all the water up from her area, creating a big ass,
dome.
You know, it's
this
like
looks like
Kisame
a blitzball arena.
Of water.
Yeah, Kisame water cloud. Yeah,
it looks like the blitzball arena from Final Fantasy.
Yeah,
X.
the blitzball arena. That jack shot on that ass. Hell yeah. But
there's the runes. Is that the mana method? The runes.
Right. So outside? It could be mana zone plus runes is mana method. Plus arrays.
Maybe.
Named.
It's hard to say
because we haven't seen mana zone plus arrays yet.
I don't remember the word mana method being used ever.
No. Mana method is a new thing.
No, but Yami used mana zone in a weird new way. I don't think there was arrays involved.
But there were no runes,
But there was no runes or arrays.
So maybe mana method
mana zone is not runes. I'm saying there are runes.
Yeah,
but Nox is saying he's combining mana zone with runes and an array to make some kind of
to make this new term, right?
A territory is a domain, right?
Maybe.
We got domain expansion out here.
Domain expansion,
but instead of a dimension, it's like
Tabata's own way.
A
physical space, exactly. I mean, that's kind of what it feels like, you know. But the first thing I saw, or not the first thing I thought about when I see this, I'm like, okay, this is really sick, but doesn't that open to be able to easily do this, since air, like, if the way that I was thinking, like, if Lolo Pachika's sucking water in and using mana zone with physical water to make this mana method with the array, using the array and the runes to actually like harness the water and suck it in, because it definitely looks like she's pulling water up and it's sucking into the the sphere.
But I will say that the sound effect at the top of the cloud the za at the top.
Oh, the za.
That's raining. So, but I don't know if that's raining like definitively.
There's a bunch of them
which
though.
Means downward, or if it means water movement, which means it could be up or down.
Well, there's a lot of whoosh, which to me sounds like a typhoon of water being sucked up.
But I'm just saying that like that sound effect, that wish, it's the English is whoosh. I'm just saying that sound effect is the same as rain.
Yeah.
So it could be fall. It could be a cloud of water that it's just so much water it's raining down.
Isn't it just like pouring? Yeah.
That's normally what that kanji signifies there up there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is rain, but it could be movement of water, and so in that sense, it could be sucking up. I have no idea. I don't know that much.
Yeah.
Mermaid form, Valkyrie dress.
Hey, we just gotta say we got classic MMO form here. Tabata, pulling out of his MMO bag. Less armor on females means higher stats. The less body covered, the harder you're gonna dominate in an MMO. And that's it's always hilarious. Like I played MMOs for a long time. It's like, I got some new armor. I'm gonna put it on. Wait, where is my armor? I don't see. All I got is
you're one of the MMO players who plays a lady character.
I had to in some games because it was forced. It's not,
Okay. There are some games that force it, like Terra Online.
Sure.
Definitely, there are definitely gender-specific classes. Yeah.
No. I wasn't ever trying to, whatever you call it. Catfish, somebody, definitely. But
shout out to M.K. Ultron. LKF Ashes,
this form is super tight and super well animated or drawn.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Tabata stats on this stuff. This is honestly, I feel like this manga would have been canceled if Tabata didn't snap with the art. So I mean, the elf arc always just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't feel like it's terrible before
mad thinking back to it.
The elf arc was just weird. It felt too much, but hey, Tabata,
it's like he got too big for his britches.
But and at the end of the day, you have a Horikoshi where it's like, okay, he's got strengths in artistry that are there, but he has weaknesses as well, and that's not what he don't give a fuck about that. He's telling a story more than anything. That more so that's first and foremost. Where not all mangaka have to be. I mean, I won't say have to be. Not all mangaka can survive. Some can survive on art,
on story, some can survive on story alone. Some can survive on art.
You can have a 7 out of 10 story, but have 10 out of 10 art, and you're not going to get canceled. Whereas Togashi's got a 10 out of 10 story, and some of that art was negative 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah,
and he sticks around because we know, you're.
Well, it's because artist. He established himself with 10 out of 10 story. And 8 out of 10 art for so long that once the art, once the art falls below that median, it's not a big deal because you've already proven yourself. Definitely.
But that's all I got. I just want to kind of follow the fact that less armor means more stats. MMO, baby.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, then with that, we can go ahead and get into chapter 273 of My Hero Academia, The Thrill of Destruction.
So this chapter was
might
really
be chapter
cool.
of the week, man.
It might be chapter. I mean, honestly, I think I put it at chapter of the week, just because Chainsaw Man is coming out of its really crazy stage. Obviously, this is ramping up into toward at least what feels like towards the climax of this arc.
And as badass as Jujutsu Kaisen was, it seemed quick because it was so action heavy and the dialogue wasn't there as much.
And although Jujutsu Kaisen shines in action, it really shines in a way that puts it in chapter of the week when you get a good balance of action and exposition. Where I feel like we had one exposition page total with a bunch of action and then ambiguous, cliffhanger at the end. But this chapter,
I really like this hero chapter.
This hero chapter was fucking amazing, and it's really cool to see Deku in like this more like confident, you know, like role, and we've been seeing this like you know, like slowly, and this is one thing that I like give props to Kohei for is his pacing on the development of his main character. You know what I mean? Things don't seem to come out of nowhere for Deku, even though like it might seem weird that like we got the information inside of the joint training arc that he's going to have, you know, control of multiple quirks. That is still given at a very slow pace. And if you look at his like original development in the beginning of the series, you have someone who's blessed with the tightest quirk in the fucking world that can't fucking use it for the first 200 chapters. Well, 150, you know what I mean? Like he didn't stop hurting himself.
A lot of groundbreaking things in the Shonen manga.
Yeah, like he didn't like Deku.
That's definitely one of them.
Deku didn't stop hurting himself using his quirk until at least chapter 100. You know what I mean?
Until Gran Torino, right?
Gran Torino gave him like the microwave and the egg analogy.
The microwave, the egg,
Yeah, you know what I mean? And at that point, he was like, okay, so I don't have to hurt myself. But even after learning that he didn't have to hurt himself, he still only had to use like 5% of his power in order to not hurt himself. That's massive. And so like you get these very small incremental developments for your main character. And like it's just unprecedented, I feel like, inside of Shonen storytelling for you to not have, I mean, like the Chisaki overhaul situation is the only time where Deku was able to comfortably use 100% of the power that he has, and it was because he had a very well explained help there allowing him to do it. You know what I mean?
Reversing the quirk while exceeding the quirk at the same time to come to a happy medium where he can use the 100. Yeah, it was perfect.
Exactly. You know what
I
mean? And
we've gotten over 100% before, but that of course led to injuries.
He obviously couldn't, like his entire, like from the neck down, basically his entire body was shattered when he was fighting.
Yeah, and that was muscular. Muscular. You know what I mean? So there's very clear caveats in place to make sure that your shonen story doesn't fall into the ass pull category of power up. You know what I mean?
In terms of ass pull, I love how at the beginning of this chapter, Deku is kicking this, you know, destruction wave from Shigaraki, and immediately Uraraka says, "That didn't stop it. It's not just some kind of shockwave. That doesn't actually work." And I was like, thank you. I'm so glad that Deku can't just kick his way out of this ability, because that's not how it should work. So I was very happy to see that.
And it's very cool to see him using the black whip in ways that are comfortable for him. Yeah. You know what I mean? But we see him very comfortable now with the black whip inside of the area that he can control it. Let's go ahead and grab this fucking bus and get this bus out of here. You know what I mean? Like that's really cool to see that.
It's believable incremental progress where like he had 2 seconds and maybe he has 10 seconds now of black whip, you know, whatever it is, definitely feels right for what he should have been after the time skip or whatever you call this. It was a time skip, right? Small time skip.
Absolutely. Going into Shigaraki, because this is pretty much where it goes, like pretty much exactly after that. You see some rescuing, which I love that Kohei decides to spend time, the perfect amount of time. He doesn't spend too much time on rescue, but he lets you know, he makes sure that he reminds you that this is a very prominent aspect of heroism. Yeah. You have to spend time, even amidst a ridiculous situation like this, where it's basically a war from a lot of villains versus a lot of fucking heroes. You have to spend dedicated pages, not just a couple of panels in one page. Multiple pages have to be dedicated to rescue and, you know, containment and making sure that regular people are okay.
For a story like this, 100% agree.
You have to do that. He never forgets to do that. I love that. And going into Shigaraki, bro,
these panels are drawn phenomenally.
Phenomenal. I love his hair. I just love his hair.
Kohei's best art is when Shigaraki is involved. Every time.
100%.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Literally, his best art comes when Shigaraki is in the scene. Like, and you can go back.
Page, this full page with this like plateau of undestructed space. This like you know 20 feet of radius of this little plateau or whatever. That panel, that page looks amazing.
It looks like a page right out of Akira to me.
Easy, definitely.
Yeah, it looks like a page right out of Akira to me, and I love his white hair, like Kiko was saying.
Yep.
And this scene that we get here, where he's going through and he's talking about how the quirk bullets are out of here. The quirky racing bullets.
Those are quirk bullets.
The quirky racing bullets.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure
the quirky racing.
Yeah,
the quirky racing bullets are out of here. All of the other quirks that he was using.
I don't think they're out of here, but it has definitely set back. Well, when we don't know if the Doctor is going to be in play in the future to continue this on, and maybe he's not.
Right.
You know, so yeah, it could be either or for sure.
I think that this scene here, where Shigaraki's looking at the destruction and going, "I destroyed all of the quirks that the Doctor wants to use to create Nomu." Those are all pretty much evaporated. The quirk bullets, okay, that was a plot point you thought was coming back. Maybe not so much to the same degree that we thought it was, but definitely, like Kiko was saying, it might be dampened to a certain degree. Either way, I feel like this all goes more towards what Shigaraki is going to do as the primary villain of this story moving forward. We don't need these quirk bullets. We don't need these Nomu. It's just Shigaraki now. You know
That's what made me feel so much better about this whole fucking story, because how do you give the guy who just already has a really fucking good quirk? Decay is a great quirk.
Yes.
And then he gets a bunch of he gets fucking all for one abilities and can possibly steal quirks or have a bunch of quirks we don't know yet. And then have quirk erasing bullets. Like it felt like too much to me.
It's too much.
So this made me so happy. I love the direction we're taking with this. Yes, definitely.
And his demeanor, his aesthetic, everything about him is not a complete 180 to his character. It definitely feels like a very drastic change.
It's a 90 degree.
Yeah. It makes sense, because you literally went into a cocoon and came out, and we have the butterfly panel metaphor. Right. You know what I mean? So we have that in the previous chapters. It makes sense that you could tell that he's a new person, but like for some reason, even though we haven't really got much to go off of, he still feels like Shigaraki, and maybe that's all aesthetically like leading into that. Yeah. But at the same time,
100% agree.
It doesn't feel random. It doesn't feel arbitrary.
He is an ascended form of Shigaraki and feels totally organic and correct. It just feels
in that sense. So let me get your opinion on this. Assuming that the translation is accurate, on page 8, page 7. That phenomenal page of just this destruction, and then page 8, it zooms in a little bit. The wind is rushing by. We get this panel on the right side of Shigaraki and kind of his shoulder, and there's this tremble.
Yeah.
Now, is he at awe of his own power and his own strength, or is he afraid of his own power and strength?
Or is he just not 100%?
Yeah, it could be either of those things, or I think like Kiko is trying to go into right now, he's just not used to being awake again.
Yeah, and he's feeling this flow of power in him.
Right.
He did say he was cold too.
But hey, and I'll just kind of jump here a little bit, which isn't crazy. This is really small as far as this chapter goes, because this chapter is enormous.
Oh yeah.
But not only did Shigaraki steal Exlis's cloak, he stole his whole fit. He has an X at the end. He's wearing his whole gear at the end. He's wearing everything. Exlis's all his clothes at the end.
I love it.
That's an X on him at the very end.
And Exlis is clearly a very clear representation of X-Men inside of My Hero Academia. Not just the fact that he looks like, a Cyclops.
He's a Cyclops-ish.
But also at the same time, his outfit is very X-Men. 2001, Grant Morrison New X-Men, which is the X-Men that the movies were based off of, where they had the all-black suit with the X across the chest. You know what I mean? That's where they went away from.
This is why Noxie's on here.
They went away from
why Noxie's on here.
They went away from the flamboyant, like colors of their suits, and went to a more, privatized, like task force style aesthetic. You know what I mean? And you can definitely very well see that inside of Grant Morrison's New X-Men in 2001 if you go look at it. But also, it's very clear where that movie inspiration came from. And you can definitely see that here in this outfit. It's fucking beautiful. That panel, I was going to wait to go to it, but since Kiko brought it up, that panel of fucking Endeavor rushing Shigaraki, that is the best fucking panel I've ever... Bro, look at Shigaraki.
That might be one of my favorite... Yeah. No, it's the hair.
He looks like a Greek god or something.
Dude, he looks like a god, bro. Like this.
The hair, I feel like, is the thing that really sets me off in the godly area.
No border, exactly. I love it. I love it.
Yes. I love that so much.
But see, like, also at the same time, inside of his outfit, like, it feels like I'm looking at Darth Vader. You know what I mean? Like, it
sure,
feels like I'm looking
yeah.
at fucking, like, look at his fucking fit. It's very X-Men, it's very Star Wars, it's very My Hero Academia all at the same time. And and it's just like the illustration techniques that he uses on it it's so sketchy, but it's so, like, you know, refined at the same time. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I mean, we talk at length sometimes about Horikoshi being a Westaboo, right? Like, he's, you know, like, I mean, he's so, like, I mean, the Star Wars reference, it might not be totally off base. I mean, maybe that's just a coincidence, but hey, and I'm not the guy. Again, you're Noxie. At the end of the day, Noxie knows more about Marvel comics than anybody I know, and not just Marvel comics, American comics in general. But I'm also not the Star Wars guy either. So, like, I'm not
as confident about, like, Star Wars as I am, like, you know, like, I mean, obviously, like, Marvel owns, like, Star Wars, like, comics, so, like, I've read, you know, like, Star Wars
that's
comics
not the
inside
same
of Marvel.
thing.
It's not the same, you know what I mean? Like, movie knowledge, like, I'm not your guy, but at the same time, you can't deny that you're getting Vader vibes from this panel with Endeavor fucking rushing him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
maybe even Palpatine too, right?
Yeah, anything like that. Yeah, exactly. Like if you didn't think about it before we brought it up here on the show, look at the fucking panel if you're following it through as we're talking about it, which I definitely recommend for. I don't know if I've ever said this on the show. If you're watching this, you should have the chapter up as we talk about it, because we reference specific
we don't go panel for
it.
Panel, but we're definitely talking specifically
we do reference
to
pages
panels
sometimes.
Pages and panels.
That's just I just feel like that's the best way to experience our show, is to have the fucking chapter up while we go through it.
I agree.
But if you go straight to this fucking page right here, honestly, with Endeavor rushing him on chapter 18 to 19, the double spread,
19.
just fucking Google search Darth Vader, Jason Aaron, Vader down inside of Marvel Comics, or just think of Darth Vader, and you'll see that it feels like it to a certain degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
for sure.
Another,
hey man, I'm gonna say, like, I really haven't said anything I have, and I got a lot. Like,
I know you do. I just, before you go into it, I want to let you get in your bag.
Go ahead.
I want to say one more thing since we're on the topic of,
so many plot points. But
since we're on the topic of Marvel comic book parallels, I feel like you have to, like, look at this To Me Machia page. And I said this a little bit on Twitter. You might have seen it on Twitter if you follow me on Twitter. But when he says To Me Machia, and bring the others, comes up, and then the hand, and then you see Machia, like, activate, and the hand comes up. This is a page out of Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four. When Franklin Richards, spoiler alert for people who haven't read Jonathan Hickman's Fantastic Four, but, like, the climax of that conflict inside of that 3-year run, I think it was, is Franklin Richards making Galactus his herald, which is unprecedented if you follow, you know, like, Marvel comics. Usually it's Galactus is the one that's making people his herald. Silver Surfer, Fire Lord, he takes his power cosmic, endows it into regular people, and then makes him work for them by giving them a whole bunch of power. This motherfucker Franklin Richards says, To me, my Galactus, and makes Galactus his herald and rises him, and it's clearly a very clear homage to that. You have the hand come out. I'm ready to see it. And I was talking about it on Twitter. I was like, these motherfuckers are fucked, bro. Like, if it's anything like that scene inside of Fantastic Four, Machia is about to run rampant on these dudes, bro. So I
feel like we could be wrong. Their analysis people on fucking YouTube, and people should still come here for all that shit that you bring with all those references and, like, how you can like, it's amazing that you have all that shit retained, because, like, it's wild. Like, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck. I mean, sure, I know who Ultron is, and, like, I know, like, roughly what you're talking about, but, like, you're like Jonathan Hickman this and Jack Dorsey that, or what? I'm like, what the fuck's this man talking about? I have no idea.
These are the best writers in the West, man.
Yeah, for sure. That's tight. I love it. Yeah. I know there's a lot of people out there that really fucking appreciate, you know, that, you know, what you bring, because I just had to call out that reference, because, like,
Jonathan Hickman's fantastic. Like, Jonathan Hickman's my favorite writer in the West right now, and he has been for a long time, ever since I read his Fantastic Four run. And that Fantastic Four run, like that moment with Franklin Richards, like making Galactus's herald, is one of the most iconic moments in like Marvel comic book history to me. So, at least since I've been reading it, that's one of the most hype moments. That's like a Goku ascending to Super Saiyan 1 for the first time.
Sure.
That's like that's like all types of shit. You know what I mean? Like, you pick your iconic moment in anime, and you can put that moment inside of that Fantastic Four run up against that, and it has similar impact. You know what I mean? So
yeah. And just to clarify, we are by far not the worst hero analysts out here. I feel like we do a great job on hero, but just, you know, for sake of argument, all that shit that Noxie brings is top tier shit. And I love it. I mean, just to be in a group chat with him when he's sharing all that shit with us and we get to look at it, it's really a treat. But, okay, so I kind of want to take it back to, we were talking about the Quirk erasing bullets.
Yeah.
And what you get to see here, which I feel like has been fairly overlooked as far as I've seen anybody talking on Twitter, but it's page 8. You get to see Shigaraki standing by a machine there in the cloak. And then in the middle panel, you get to see a big ass hole in the machine. And then you get to see Shigaraki saying, darn, after the doc went to all the trouble to make more of these fucking, you know, Quirk erasing bullets, Overhaul would be disappointed. So
darn. Okay, let's just talk about that. Darn. Is that what Shigaraki would say?
No, fuck no.
Darn.
Yeah, get out of here.
Shoot.
Oh,
golly gee.
Gee willikers.
Oh, yeah. Jiminy Jillikers, radioactive man. You know?
Radioactive man. Oh, my God. All right. Yeah, anyway, sorry.
But yeah. So that big ass hole indicates to me is that Exless didn't go out like a hoe and he shot the fucking hole and he fucking did his job on the way out. But that still leads me to really question the fucking logic on the heroes that were in control of the area. And sure, maybe they just needed to fucking allocate power elsewhere. But how the fuck do you leave a fucking one middle tier hero with Shigaraki and society destroying bullets? Like, I feel like those are the two most important things in this entire story, and you left fucking Exitless with that? It's irresponsible to me. I mean, that's my only
no one
qualm.
knew that either of those things were down there.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
I don't know if that's fully. I mean, everybody knew Shigaraki was down there.
Bullets. They definitely did not know the bullets were down there. He only attacked that thing because it looked weird to him. He's like, oh, that machine looks important. I should probably destroy that thing.
Yeah.
That
makes sense.
Is that? I mean, sure.
I don't know if that's for sure. That's something that we need exposition for, but I agree with you.
No, he literally said. Well, I mean, sure, we don't know.
Maybe last chapter. I don't remember.
In particular, went to the mansion or whatever, but he said definitively, like 1 or 2 chapters ago, like that. Machine looks important.
He did
I should
say
destroy
that.
it.
Yeah. Okay, and that makes a lot of sense, but still at the same time, you're leaving one hero with Shigaraki, which is also questionable.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Even if you think he's dead or alive.
Did they leave one hero with him? I mean, it's just about who made it to the scene at the time, because the first they sent Mirko. That makes sense to send after Shigaraki. Or the doctor rather. She was just there at the time, and then you find out she's there. She communicates. You send more people there. It's just whoever's close enough goes to the scene.
You're probably right. I mean, it's really hard to tell like intent with Horikoshi's storytelling in here, because he's focused on other things that he's not really focused on the finer points of like how this operation kind of should have played out at this point, you know, which is fine. It's totally fine. You can infer things there, and you might be right. But so a couple other things. Shigaraki's still missing most of his hand from the Redestro fight, which I loved, and he has like some kind of like fucking
glove
machine on it. Like a gun or something.
Cybernetic, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. So there's a few things I think people might have missed, is that Exless actually did go out, you know, making an impact on things. Yeah. And that Shigaraki is still missing most of his hand. What does that mean? Another big thing,
like in the scene where he gets zapped and like comes back to life, you can see that the camera angle is on the side of his body where he's missing those fingers on his hand. So we saw that a couple chapters ago too.
And we commented, it's a lot of chapters ago now, but we definitely talked about him. But just the fact that, you know, you could easily, just write off the fact that, okay, he undergone this whole transformation and quirk assimilation, that maybe somehow he was just able to regenerate that part of his hand and those limbs, or whatever. Like that's totally write offable. Didn't forget. Exactly. I loved it. And that he even added to it, what is this thing on his hand? Maybe it's something, maybe it's not. I think it is, and I think it is going to play some kind of part at some point, so let's keep an eye on that, for the future. But the biggest thing to me with this story is, can Toga ingest Twice's dead blood and activate, now that she can use the ability of the person to, is she going to go on a rampage? Is she going to ingest? And so the thing about Toga's power is, the more blood that she ingests, the longer she can hold the form and the more she can utilize that form. So is she going to just basically gobble up a shit ton of fucking dead Twice's blood, activate crazy and create dead man's, Himiko Toga parade, and fucking stabbing people everywhere?
Oh, my God.
I really think that's a strong possibility. I mean, it all depends on what Horikoshi wants to do with the fact that is a dead being's blood usable?
Well, obviously this dude died, right? That she's impersonating now. So did she ingest his blood before he died? Did she ingest his blood after he died? That's something that I feel like we don't know.
There's been a lot of that where the characters that she has transformed into, there was speculation on whether or not they were killed, or maybe they're being held hostage and she just keeps them to use their blood for some reason, or whatever. But I think it's safe to say this hero that she imitates, whatever, transforms into, I would think they were dead, especially because she's off hinge more than she's ever been in the story, and she's just perpetually off hinge, right?
Now this scene where we realize it's Toga. The scene that shows us that it's Toga is her slicing this hero's throat, just nonchalantly, quickly, right away. This is something I feel like is something that you wouldn't necessarily expect inside of a story like Hero. And this is something that I really respect Kohei for, is that he's able to drop jaws with shocking, examples of the stakes in the series. You know what I mean? So while you have all of this tried and true shonen storytelling inside of how the kids behave and their interactions and the progression of the characters inside of the school, on the villain side of things, it can get very dark very quickly. And I don't know of too many other stories besides Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man inside of Jump right now, where you'll have a scene like this where a villain just slices a dude's throat and kills them sporadically like this, out of nowhere, for shock value. You know what I mean? It just seems like something that you just won't see normally, and I love that we get that inside of Hero to really drive that villain threat home, to the reader. You know what I mean? So
it's either a seinen story or one of them shonen stories that feel seinen, even though they're still shonen. That's where you get that, and I love it too. It's just fits with what's going on right now. Fits with Toga's mind state right now, and I love that.
That shit had me
we're getting down to business, man. No
and
bullshit.
You can guarantee that this character that got their throat cut, if this was a Black Clover or a One Piece, you can survive getting your throat cut. But you can pretty much guarantee that this dude is dead as fuck.
Oh yeah, he's dead.
You know what I mean? Very
likely.
And that's just.
So can I jump in for a little more here?
Yeah.
So after the scene where Shigaraki summons Giganto Machia, we head over to Fat Gum.
Yeah.
And over Fat Gum's head flies Tokoyami and Hawks.
Yeah.
And so here's a question: can Dark Shadow actually fly?
It's like a glide. It's like a glide.
Yeah, it seems more than a glide to me.
It definitely seems more than a glide.
It does seem more.
Maybe it has the momentum to make it seem okay. It's still because when I see Dark Fallen Angel, to me, because it doesn't make sense for that to be a flying technique. It makes sense more that it's like a Batman cape. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Gargoyles is what I thought of too.
Yeah, or Gargoyles.
The American cartoon Gargoyles.
Yeah.
They just glided on currents, wind currents.
Right. Now, if you have the momentum enough to stay airborne
of an explosion.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, if it's like a an explosive momentum and you've got a little bit more hang time than you think you should have, it's very easy to think, okay, this person is flying. But at the same time, it's like I feel like you could get away with having them in the air for longer than they technically should. But like I don't think that he can like flap and gain height. Right. You know what I mean? I think
Which is hard to say really definitively one way or the other, because I mean it's not like a reach to say the bird guy can fly, right? And his mentor is another bird guy. And it's very Sasuke-ish, where after the curse mark he grows two like hands that are wings at the same time and can fly with them.
That's right.
You know, so does Dark Shadow just have two big ass hand wings that he
That's
can
what we
fly
see
with?
in Dark Fallen Shadow though.
Yeah.
It's like they're like two big ass, you know, his wings are like hands. Yeah, it's very much
so that was just like a minor point I thought of, like, and I totally agree with you. Momentum, gliding definitely can be explained. So now the more interesting one, same page, and this is page 12 in the Manga Plus app or whatever. Tokuyami flies over. He goes Fat Gum. Fat Gum sees him holding Hawks.
And he has like a weird face about it.
A weird face. And so is that face like, do y'all think that this face is suspicion against Hawks or just straight concern? Because the next panel he does say there should be medics in the rear, you can go there. And so he is trying to be helpful. Yeah. Like that face definitely looks suspicious to me.
Like Fat Gum knows like about, you know, Hawks' situation with like Best Genus maybe even too.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Seems like a stretch. I won't say that's impossible, but I also remember that Fat Gum was upset that Tokuyami broke out of him and went and did what he did. So like,
but I
there
feel
might
like
be some of that too. Like
that he was able to break out of his taxi.
No, I think he was. I mean, sure, there's that too, but he was also like their guardian at that point, and he was looking over the younger generation. So like when Tokuyami breaks out and goes on his own, Fat Gum could feel responsible if something happened to Tokuyami. But
he sees that he's clean. Like he's got the number 2 hero in his shit.
But that doesn't mean he still doesn't like. He's not like, okay, I'm relieved that you survived, but I'm still upset with your choice of action in that period when there was people that should have done what you just did. Like we had people that were supposed to be filling that role. You're just a fucking kid, and even though you have all this great talent, you're a great fucking hero already at your age.
You think he would look more relieved?
Be in that danger.
You think he would look more relieved to see him in a safe place rather than like,
I agree.
What are you doing
here? I'm kind of just playing devil's advocate on here that it could be that, because you very well could be. I wasn't trying to say one way or the other, but that was just kind of another.
But also the paneling. The bottom right panel, Tokuyami's saying, Fat Gum. Middle panel,
he sees
zooms in on Hawks.
And then face.
Fat Gum. So to me, it really is, he saw Hawks and had a very interesting expression on his face. Like, to me, that's like really interesting.
It very well could be. And now, you're definitely swaying me a little bit. You know, and swaying, I guess, isn't the right word, because like I said, I'm kind of just playing devil's advocate here. Because I don't disagree that could be what's going on here, but it also, you know, might not be. But
I'm not sure what Fat Gum knows, but he seems suspicious about something.
In fact,
that's going to be a plot
not
point
even
that
top
comes
10,
back.
is he? Or if he is, he's barely top 10.
I think he's top 20, right? I think he's like 11.
Yeah, he doesn't seem the type of hero that would have inside government information.
But see, at the same time, it's like at the same time, do you have to be top 10 to be curious as to like why like the situation might not seem like as, you know, straightforward as what you were introduced. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody inside of these hero rankings could have an experience that makes them go, is this government as straightforward as I was taught to believe when I was on the come up? And look into it further on your own in like a, you know, undercover kind of way.
Or I mean, we could take it even a step further, that what does ranking have to do with whether or not the government has instilled you into your place, right? You can be the fucking 17th fucking best hero ranked, but you have, you know, alternate agendas here that the government has instilled you with that, you know, isn't giving you the outlet to raise your hero rank. You're whatever, chilling at 17, but you got your own niche to fill. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I'm on board with that either way. But just for kind of lighten up a little bit, how about Roronoa Bakugo right here? You know, carrying a guy with his teeth.
Oh, wait, where's that?
Totally missed that.
Dude, Bakugo
what page is that?
Dude. Let me pull it. It is 4 in the bottom right panel. Roronoa Bakugo.
Yes, let's go.
And I love that. I love that panel. It's very brief and very subtle, but it's still, even though Bakugo can save people, that's not his role as a hero.
But these last two chapters have shown
he's
Bakugo,
DPS.
Yeah, and he is DPS, but these last two roles have shown that Bakugo understands the rescue aspect of heroism. Because in the last chapter, as soon as when the destruction wave was coming in the last chapter, you got that panel of Bakugo like, let's get these people moving. Let's get these people out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like he shouted
and
that.
old people are saying this, and he's like, fuck you, old person. I don't give a fuck.
Go
be safe.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you get that in the last chapter, and then you see in this chapter he's focused on saving people, whereas the Bakugo of chapter 20 would have been like, let me at Shigaraki, boom, 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 and he would have fucking went straight to the epicenter of the conflict.
Oh yeah.
And you can see his growth. And people say that he doesn't have development. People say he doesn't have progression. Like you're not paying attention.
Vastly not true. That's vastly
that's a
not
surface
true.
level criticism because all you can think about is how abrasive he
murder,
is.
death, kill, explosion.
Yeah. All you can think about is how like loud and annoying and aggravated he is, and that you're not able to see the subtle progressions in his character. This is a completely different Bakugo. I mean, but all the same.
That's
like
Horikoshi's bread and butter. How
Yeah.
dare you say any of these characters haven't developed? Like I may have some criticism here and there, but character develop has never been one of them.
That's what he's best at.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And that's basically what I wanted to highlight. You did a great job of expanding on it because this is clearly growth. He is here to save people. His quirk's not suited for saving people, clearly, because he can only save one person by holding their fucking shirt in his teeth, and he's, he needs to use his hands to get the fuck out of there. His quirk's not suited for it, but yet he's still doing it because that's what his.
That's what being a hero is. That's what you have
that's
to find
what
a way.
This time is calling for.
And not only is that not what this time is calling for, but even if you have a quirk that isn't like obviously his hands are tied up. Like that's where his quirk comes from. So like when you think about like rescuing people, you think about picking up people, cradling them, and bringing them to a safe space. Obviously he can't do that unless he sacrifices mobility. But even though you have a quirk that doesn't allow you to save people in large amounts, you find a way to use your quirk to save anyone you can. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And that's exactly what Bakugo's doing here. It's beautiful.
Yeah, so I mean, we gotta talk about Endeavor versus Shigaraki. Like we definitely got to. And
before we go into that, Eagle, I feel like you haven't said anything this segment. What are your thoughts on the chapter?
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought it was an awesome chapter.
Yeah.
I don't know. My favorite panel was it was a small one on page 5 of the bottom of the page when Deku's carrying the bus.
Yes,
that small panel
Black
of his
Whip,
face that really conveys his just
the facial.
Yes,
such a good panel. That Deku face is beautiful.
He doesn't look worried. Like people associate like Deku with like he doesn't know what he's doing. He's still learning. He's nervous. He's timid.
Yeah.
He looks so confident about every single thing that's going on right now. And I just love seeing faces like that inside of Deku. Especially, and this is one of the most dire situations he's ever seen himself in.
That's when Deku shines, right? That's when even all that timidness, and whatever you want to call it, but like that's when it disappears, and he really does shine during those times. Which obviously Shonen MC, they all shine at that time, but they all don't show the indecision and the fucking just worry that he has, and the maybe the confidence he lacks sometimes, which has always been a refreshing point of the character. So whenever you see especially a panel that really highlights his determination
Yeah.
It's great. I agree. You know, that's a great panel. I love that panel.
Yes.
But,
yes, sir.
Is Shigaraki about to crack a hot one open with the boys or what? You know, like,
so here's the question. So if you look at the panel, the one panel where it's like there's nothing, it's just a page of destruction. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's no fire anywhere.
Yeah.
Now is that because the fire has gone out because there's nothing around to burn, or can Shigaraki's decay ability destroy fire?
Well, I feel like we have a lot of like reason to assume that it can, because I mean, like, if he can decay the metaphysical manifestation of stress inside of Redestro, then like, I mean, I guess it is physical to a certain degree with his quirk and whatnot, but I mean, like, if he can if he can decay stress, I feel like it's pretty safe to assume that he can decay fire. But I feel like this is the best matchup here, right? I feel like
I don't know if he can destroy fire, it's going to be a one panel of
very
now.
one-sided.
Well, no.
Like,
I feel like
and
it'll
I
be defense.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
I feel like it'll be defense, right? Because obviously, like, Endeavor is very DPS oriented. But
he
like
can just
also,
overwhelm with fire blast.
No,
right?
and I mean, like,
Shigaraki's going to be decaying it as it's coming towards him.
Even if he doesn't overwhelm him, I feel like this is a good matchup because Endeavor does not need to touch the ground. If any other character like pulled up on Shigaraki, you'd be like, okay, you're out of here. But like,
it has to be a floating character, flying character.
Yeah, exactly. So
what does floating have to do with anything?
Because he doesn't have
Shigaraki can touch the ground and instantly kill anybody.
Shigaraki can destroy at a distance. He doesn't need to touch anything.
Well, I mean, but he still has.
It has to be a physical.
It has to start. There has to be a starting point.
Yeah, it has to exactly. Like
you can't just start touching oxygen and it spreads through oxygen.
He just destroyed a kilometer radius.
Yeah, but it all started from an epicenter.
Yeah.
Right.
It's never been. I don't think it's been stated definitively that he needs to start from the bottom up or something.
No, not from the bottom up, but it has to start. It has to start from close proximity.
The initial point of
I get it spreads. It spreads from him.
Yeah, exactly. But he couldn't like look at someone on a building like 30 yards away and then just go start decaying right there where you.
No, I get that. I get that. But I'm like, I'm saying you're here.
Yeah.
Endeavor's floating in front of you 10 feet. Away and 10 feet up.
Yeah.
Okay. You send out a decay shockwave, and it might take a second to get there, but it's gonna get there.
Okay, so you
just because he's floating, he's not immune from.
Yeah.
So you do.
That's
think
the disconnect I think we were having.
Yeah. So you do think that the decay goes through the air too, then? Because,
yeah.
Okay. So if you think the decay,
it's not instantaneous at a distance, but floating will not avoid it.
Well, I'm okay. So like the decay that we've seen so far has been ground based. Like, okay, like you know what I mean? Like so
sure.
like
even the big one where he levels the city when he's fighting Redestro, it all does start at an epicenter at the ground.
But he's also on the ground.
Right, but at the same time it's like, okay, so the destruction might like go upwards, you know, and you might see a wave of destruction coming at you that's like, you know, 50 meters tall. But like how much of that is dust? How much of that is debris, and how much of that is actually the destructive wave coming at you? I feel like it's ground based.
So I'm just saying, to be clear, you all are saying you could jump over his ability.
Or float over it, yes.
Yeah.
Like if Uraraka just floated 1 foot above the street, she would be completely immune to Shigaraki.
Yeah.
I completely disagree.
Unless Shigaraki grabs her.
Right.
That's nonsense, and that means
I don't think it's nonsense.
It's not nonsense because it could be true.
Dude, look at everyone that's died. They've been at ground level.
But that's because he's at ground level.
Well, sure, but
that's coincidence.
Well, I mean,
are you saying he can't?
But he's never done a hand wave.
He's never done a hand wave. He doesn't need to touch anything.
Yeah. No.
So why can't he point it up?
No. He does.
He's not destroying anything at a distance. His quirk is spreading.
No.
Yeah, he's touching something physical.
To touch something to start it.
It sucks.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that the ability would spread in the air because of his. If his ability was decaying the air and the oxygen, then he would just kill everybody in the area. He wouldn't even be able to breathe after he activated.
He did kill everyone in the area, but I guess everyone that was touching the ground.
Exactly right. So okay. So like before.
Any form of matter.
Before his decay was, I have to touch all 5 of my fingers to the thing I want to decay.
Yep.
Then in My Villain Academia, Redestro said he's lost fingers, but he's still decaying things. It's now spreading to things that he hasn't actually touched. You know what I mean? And now that destructiveness beyond what he's just touching with his hand is now at a higher potency, right? So like it's not just anything around me in a sphere outward is destroyed. That's way too broken. Like anything, like
I guess that's always how I always imagine his ability working, and so I guess I just been wrong this whole time.
Well, I mean, and at the same time, there's nothing definitively stating that you are wrong, but there's more to support.
We're gonna see next chapter.
Yeah, there's more to support that it's still ground-based spread of destruction from the epicenter of like where he is and what he touches, than to think that it's just a fucking like 360-degree wave of destruction that doesn't matter if it's solid matter.
Why didn't it destroy the ground?
Yeah, well, I mean, but he can still, I feel like, decide what, because otherwise, why is that platform?
Well, yeah, that's what was said. Now he can destroy exactly what he wants, and he could make
because Exodus's cape wouldn't be there then.
Yeah, just say it's a line. Just say we're gonna say a line, one linear line of decay, and at 10 meters he could stop it and pick it back up at 15 meters. And there would be this 5 meter gap of no decay if he wants to.
Maybe it is like that. Yeah,
that's kind of here.
I don't think that could work based on what you're saying.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah.
And maybe
that's kind of contradictory.
Maybe that's not true. Maybe that's not true. Maybe you're in a linear line. He takes a cut and then he goes up and he comes back and like finishes his linear. But what I'm trying to liken this to like, okay, the epicenter thing I agree with completely, that he started at the beginning and things
went
used to
outward
decay
at 360 degrees.
Yeah, and now I feel like it's a plateau end situation where he's controlling like which way it's going exactly. Now he can pinpoint exactly how he could make it fucking like a snake, slither like a snake across the ground if he wants to.
Sure, that's fine. And I get that the ground is still there because he wanted it to be there. The plateau of stuff he's standing on is there because he wants it to be there. The cell phone and his clothes weren't destroyed because he didn't want them to be destroyed. But if next chapter it is revealed that Endeavor can just float and he's immune to the ability completely, I will be very surprised, and I will need to go back and reread a lot of chapters to be like for example, this plateau he's on, right? So he left the plateau there, but the decay still spread past the plateau, even though he's on the plateau.
Because he says, now I can dictate. I just don't decay what's under my feet anymore.
I get that. I get that he can pick to not destroy the cell phone that's standing right next to him. He doesn't have to destroy everything. But I'm just saying
and the plateau.
And the plateau. But so he can do it at a distance, but it must be still touching distance.
It has to go from the point of contact
from his
and
feet
spread
to
onward. Like anything like solid matter will be decayed from the point of contact.
Air.
Well, we don't know. Well, that's what we're saying, because I'm talking about like if he can decay stress, you know what I mean, inside of Redestro.
My question is, why would he need another quirk if he can just decay the atmosphere? Like, that's so broken. Like this,
broken.
Why does he need like all these other quirks if that's because that's the thing.
We're gonna see.
I mean, but we're gonna see in this Endeavor fight that. So I mean, I don't know for sure, of course, but like I feel like
his quirk, reasonable. Like,
you
still
need a caveat. You still need a caveat.
You
still grab you while you're doing it and decay you.
Like if he could do what you're talking about, I want to liken it to Marvel Comics again. It would literally be the Phoenix Force. Deadass. Yeah. If you remember,
I'll take your word for it. I don't know.
Well, Kiko knows what I'm talking about here. The Dark Phoenix.
Sure,
shit?
Dark Phoenix shit, I guess.
It's just destruction in 360 degrees in a way that you can't do anything about.
Yeah. I mean, it's just unavoidable.
Or it's just a nuke. It's just a nuke. You know what I mean?
Right. And so, I mean, I think we got to talk about a few other things about Shigaraki as far as like, okay, we have the 70% thing or 75%, like maybe that's part of the issue here, and there is something, holding him back. Maybe he is missing part of whatever. Because I feel like if Shigaraki has full control over All For One right now, he's going to easily just wipe Endeavor, which is definitely a possibility. But I feel like it would be more, it would make more sense to me if he can't really control All For One right now. He tries to like bring out some random quirk. It just goes awry, I guess.
Yeah. Kind of like Black Whip in the joint training arc.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can't control it.
I do want to throw in, though, that there's two options for how All for One works. So he could have full control over All for One, but he still needs to. He starts from 0 abilities gained.
Yeah.
He needs to go and collect them now.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he has all of them, but it could also mean that he has every single ability ever.
And he just doesn't know how to use them.
By All for One, and he doesn't know how to use them yet. So it's either one of those two things. So he could know how to instinctively know how to use it, but not have access to anything yet because he's not stolen anything yet.
And I agree with that. I agree with that because obviously he's fighting Endeavor, and if he just steals Endeavor's quirk, that's probably the best outcome, I think, personally, for Endeavor, because he's not out of the story, because he can't be out of the story. He has family things that still need to be resolved. He can't just be out completely. But I also can see where Shigaraki, with his phone charger still plugged into his phone. That was funny. But how ain't you got to charge after fucking sleeping for 4 months? I feel like you got to charge. But anyway.
But at the same time, no, hold on. So like All for One's quirk works kind of like Skill Hunter inside of Hunter x Hunter. You have to have like the person whose quirk you're taking has to willingly give it to you. You can't just grab a quirk from somebody and take it from them.
Are you saying that's proven, or are you saying that there must
be
some
that is proven. You can't just
because there's no way that what's her name from the Wild Wild Pussycats has given up her quirk to this man.
What do you mean?
He
abducted
the Wild Pussycats lady, her quirk that lets her read minds.
Yeah,
Mandalay.
Yeah, did we ever see the moment that he took the quirk?
No, and can he torture you? And can he torture you into
giving it?
Yeah.
If we don't see the point where he takes torture, then why didn't he take Best Jeanist quirk?
There was no physical harm done to her.
No. Why didn't? But I'm just saying, if you're encountering the number 3 hero inside of Best Jeanist, in that exchange that they had, that's obviously a wildly broken quirk. Why wouldn't you just take that? If you could just take it indiscriminately, why wouldn't you just take Best Jeanist quirk? But
there could be
I think
conditions.
He had dialogue with Best Jeanist on how his shit wasn't that tight, but he was tight with it, so he commended him.
I don't remember that. I'd have to go back and look. But at the same time, I feel like that if you could just indiscriminately take quirks with no caveat to it, and you just have it because you're in close proximity and I can see it, why does anybody who ever encountered All for One still have a quirk?
Grab them by the throat and suck it out of
them.
Either
a condition that's not voluntary. It's just a different condition, like they have to be knocked out or you have to touch them physically.
I don't think you can just be like, oh, you have a quirk, I like that, give it to me. I definitely don't think it's like that.
That feels
everything to consider. Even if it was voluntary and Mandalay does not appear to be harmed in any way, because there are psychological quirks like commanding intent,
Shinzo.
or reading minds. Like there could be some really, really hardcore mental abilities that have not really been addressed yet, but he could have I'm just gonna make you feel pain in your mind, or whatever, right? That's my quirk.
Just make you do what I tell you to do.
Or make you do what I tell you.
It wasn't to read minds; it was to telepathically communicate.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about too. I was like, was it read minds? But telepath. Okay, and that's fine. Someone in the comments, because I'm sure someone either like a Shads or like a Drip UG is gonna come in here and say some shit. Please put a comment down below if you have information on the conditions that it takes for All for One that we have in the lore to take an ability, and if that's ever been actually fleshed out instead, because I feel I want to say, but I'm not confident that he can't just take quirks without permission. I want to say that that's a thing.
All I remember is that you can't take one for all.
Yeah,
that has to be. I want
to say that there are conditions to it, because that plays into All for One's charisma, right? In him rallying you to his cause, him making you believe in his vision, him letting you know that you can trust him with your quirk. Here it is for you. I
agree with that.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
It definitely could be. That way.
That's just the way that I remembered it. But
I don't remember any conditions ever being stated.
Yeah. And I don't remember any specific conditions being stated. But please, if you remember and you feel like combing through the story, or if you just remember off the top of your head, please cite your sources, drop it down in the comments, and remind us, because I'm very curious on that.
Yeah. I mean, if you got Blackbeard's voice actor, you're pretty charismatic. You know?
Yeah.
Uvo Gin
Torkel. Yeah.
Oh, that's that guy kills the game. I don't even know his name, but that's one of my favorite voice actors. I should learn his name probably.
Keiko, did you have any other points?
Just the fact that, does it make sense for Endeavor to die right now?
No, hell no. He's not, bro. I promise you, he's not dying right now. He might lose, but that doesn't mean he has to die right now.
Right.
Sure.
And
so
that's
what does losing mean for him?
Y'all explaining Shigaraki's ability and clarifying that, like, it's not just like a distance destroy.
Yeah.
Like, you probably have to be touching the ground. That makes a lot of sense the more that I think about it, because, like, if it isn't touching the ground, he's dead immediately, right?
Yeah,
just evaporated.
He's dead right away. Yeah. He's done for right now.
And that can't be, you know, it just doesn't make any sense in terms of a battle or a plot or anything. So
plot more so than anything.
Maybe this next chapter
maybe this
right
is just
now.
gonna be a super quick exchange where Endeavor like loses an arm or something. So he comes in for a strike. Shigaraki says, "Nah," his shit starts decaying. He says, "Nah," and is like,
I think Endeavor has the experience,
because I mean he can only fly for so long.
Yeah,
he
but
has a determined amount of heat he can withstand, so he can't just fly around forever.
But I think at the same time,
it's got to be quick one way or the other.
I think at the same time, Endeavor has the experience with his Hellflame quirk and the understanding of how this quirk has been behaving so far, to know that he probably shouldn't square up with this motherfucker in close proximity. So I feel like he will keep this fight relatively mid-range to long distance and see what he can do. Yeah.
To even approach.
He's like stopping where he's at then and like gonna throw a beam, because it looks like he's coming in for this man's jaw.
He does. I mean, like, he does look like he is approaching him. Maybe that was just to enter the proximity. I think it was to enter the proximity that he's comfortable with. I don't think that he's necessarily going directly to, you know, right next to Shigaraki. I think it was just to get in range of an effective attack. But yeah, I don't think he's going to punch him here. I think this is definitely going to be a blast.
Sure.
Yeah. And I do got one more small point here. So the fact that the quirk destroying bullets or quirk stealing bullets, whatever, are essentially destroyed. Sure, we can bring them back. They could come back depending on the doctor, you know, like what's the doctor's outcome. But say they are gone, which I kind of hope for. Just the fact that Shigaraki don't need any help. He's OP as fuck right now. But if those are gone, is Shigaraki gonna target Eri so he can get that ability just in his all for one? Because, you know, if you don't want to steal a quirk, you may just want to erase it.
Yeah.
You know, like
get it out of here.
if you have some kind of hard drive memory, right? Like I can only fill up 1 terabyte of fucking quirks.
Yeah.
Right.
I might just want to erase some quirks that I don't want to deal with. I don't want them and I don't want to learn them, but I also want to get rid of them. So yeah, like, I mean, they've
already said that Aizawa's quirk was highly desired, and Eggman wanted Aizawa, and it seems like he accidentally targeted the friend or whatever
Shirakumo.
when he was
Shirakumo,
when he was actually going for Aizawa. So I think that makes sense.
And Chisaki actually, you know, did kind of what, you know, Eggman wanted to do, but he used Eri instead of fucking, you know, Aizawa, and because they have obviously a very similar quirk. But yeah, I mean, it's man,
that's a good point.
I feel real bad. I feel real bad for a little girl getting targeted by that.
No.
But yeah, that's if we get a million, you know. Situation.
No.
But yeah. All right, that's all I got though. Good shit.
I'm good.
Love this chapter.
Hell yeah.
Alrighty.
What a week in Jump.
What a week in life.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, seriously.
What a word.
Yeah.
Well, I believe that'll do it then. So that'll be it for this episode of the Project Manga podcast. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did, make sure you slap a like on this video if you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and hit that noti bell, especially if you're new to the show. Make sure that you hit that comment section and let us know what you thought of this Weekend Jump. Also, you know, whatever thoughts you have in general, and whatever Noxie asked from Vash, not Vash, but Shads. Anyways,
yeah.
This will be another infectious episode of the Project Manga podcast. Wrapping up. I'm your host, Eagle.
It's your boy Kiko.
Noxie.
And Nickums.
I can't breathe.